The Last of the Mohicans opened in 1992 as a sweeping frontier epic. Directed by Michael Mann and set during the French and Indian War, the film follows a Mohican family as they navigate a conflict of cultures while protecting the Colonel's daughters caught in the crossfire. My name's John, and the wild frontiersmen with me are Matt.
Magwase, he understands the English very well.
And Westy.
Death and honour are thought to be the same. Today I have learned they are not.
It's colonial America, and ATRM are heading into the forest to talk the story that proves love and action aren't always exclusive. So just stay alive, and we will find you. Hello and welcome to All the Right Movies. We travel by night and don't stop for anything except to podcast about classic and hit films.
It's the only thing we stop for. Mm-hmm. And to kill some deer, obviously.
That's a given.
Of course.
Yeah.
Today's show does take us back to the frontier.
It really does.
We're telling the story of Hollywood one film at a time, and now it's muskets, Mohawks and Michael Mann as we dive into the sweeping romance and brutal action of The Last of the Mohicans.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Before we join the war party, though, should we try and recruit some new warriors as patrons?
I think we should.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
So our ATRM Patreon service supports the podcast and gives you access to bonus content. That's our double feature episodes where we talk about two films and decide which gets the full ATRM classic treatment, and the watch list, our monthly review show, plus hundreds of archived ATRM classics. If you're into Michael Mann, we've got Heat already covered for you.
Yeah.
Or if sweeping period cinematography is your thing, we also have Master and Commander.
Nice.
We do.
Loads and loads of others as well. So for more, please visit patreon.com/all the right movies to join up. Subscribe through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube as well.
Nice.
Yes.
We will find you with some great benefits, but first, you need to find that subscribe button.
Yes, you do. No matter what occurs.
Yeah.
So back to 1757 then, The Last of the Mohicans. Matt, this was your choice.
Yep.
So why this film?
This is going to sound contrary because obviously it did win the poll against some of the big films in there, but I just think this is one of those films, it's not talked about enough, it's not respected enough.
Yeah.
Maybe the fact it came between Dances with Wolves and Braveheart, and those who got the attention in a way this one didn't quite.
Yeah.
What a sandwich that is.
I mean, what a sandwich. So, you know, it does get overlooked a little bit, but it really shouldn't because there are a lot of films that owe a lot to this one, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But it's got such an epic, old-fashioned sweep to it that I absolutely adore. It moves along at a cracking pace, amazing scenery, incredible music, incredible set pieces. Daniel Day-Lewis running, big swords, big hair, big waterfall. It's got it all.
Lovely.
Yeah, I want to watch it again after that.
Yeah. What a synopsis. Get that on the poster.
Yeah, this is a big historical number, and I've got quite a long history with it. First saw it when I was probably 14, 15, I think.
Right.
And I loved it at the time, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first Michael Mann film I ever saw.
Yeah.
And while I know now that sweeping romantic epics aren't usually his thing, then I was in hook, line and sinker.
Yeah.
And a lot of other firsts as well. We've got Daniel Day-Lewis in what I'm pretty sure is his most out-and-out action role.
Gotta be, surely.
First time we've talked about Madeline Stowe as the leading lady.
Yes.
And the first time we've talked about films set in the 1700s since 2 episodes ago. So we're overdue.
We are.
Yes, we are.
And as a backdrop, you've got the French and Indian War, all mix of cultures in British, French, Native Americans, colonial Americans, and in the middle of it all, this, like, forbidden love story. So interesting stuff. As always, we'll be dissecting all of it and telling the story of how it was made, which is a pretty fascinating one. So this is going to be massive, epic, surely.
Surely.
It is massive.
And Westy, I know you can reload a flintlock while running.
Yeah, I can.
I've seen you around Bowling Colliery.
Yeah, it's imperative to carry one of them around Bowling Colliery, I'll be honest with you. And you've got no choice but to load it while running.
So this is perfect for you, isn't it?
Yeah, 1757, we're back again, aren't we? I'd hate for anyone to think we were current. But I was late 90s for me, this one.
Well,
It was one of them that kind of slid underneath because, like you said there, John, there was Dances with Wolves and there was Braveheart. And Braveheart kind of knocked me socks off a little bit in 95.
Yeah.
Because my first Michael Mann film was Manhunter, obviously.
oh, really?
Yeah. And then it was coming back to these kind of big sweeping epics, and it was just before the Patriot came out. There was that extra kind of pull towards that period piece, and I thought, I need to check it out. And I absolutely loved it. This is perfect. It was really Michael Mann, and it was like that next step towards what I expected from him, but didn't expect it to be this big in scale and just so grand and sweeping. And I was just taken away by how romantic it is, and I think I'm going to repeat that all the way through the podcast, because this is just an incredible romance of everything. It's a romance of landscape, it's a romance of family, it's a romance of, you know, a relationship. It's really poetic. Well, and like Matt said, I think it is one of them that's kind of hidden under the bed a little bit. People don't shine the light on it enough, so I think it's high time that we do that.
I wouldn't fancy finding Magua hiding under my bed.
Well, of course not.
Oh, God, no.
I don't want to find him anyway.
So, The Last of the Mohicans was produced by Morgan Creek Productions, distributed by 20th Century Fox and Morgan Creek International, and released on September the 25th, 1992. Shot mainly in the mountains of western North Carolina, the film was directed by Michael Mann, written by Mann and Christopher Crowe, based on James Fenimore Cooper's novel of the same name, and stars Daniel Day-Lewis as Hawkeye, Madeline Stowe as Cora Munro, and Wes Studi as Magua.
Yeah.
Let's cross that frontier then, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's 1757, the wilderness awaits, and we're tracking with The Last of the Mohicans.
The beginning.
The Last of the Mohicans opens in the wilds of colonial New York, 1757. The French and Indian Wars raging, and cultures are colliding. The battle-ready arrival of the Mohican lads is coming, but first, we start with some character introductions.
We certainly do.
Yep.
So we open by meeting all of our main good guys. The Mohicans, Hawkeye, Chingachgook and Uncas, are hunting deer through the forests of the Adirondacks. Meanwhile, at the British garrison, Cora Munro is letting down the romantic advances of Major Duncan Hayward, played by Stephen Warrington.
Yeah.
So the frontier or the drawing room, Westy, how was the opening for you?
The opening's fantastic. It's yellow credits. We'll get that out of the way.
It is.
They'll go slightly orange. It's fine. So 1757. We know exactly where we are. That's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive.
It's a great write-up. That music starts to creep in. We'll get the perfect introduction to Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli. Sorry, the Mohican lad running through that forest. It's perfect because this opens with a real energy. You don't know what they're doing, you don't know where they're going, but you know they are part of that landscape. That camera just floats through. There's nothing handheld, there's nothing jarring. When Day-Lewis just takes off that ledge and then lands perfectly, it's like, oh God, this is just incredible. We're 2 minutes 50 into the film and Hawkeye's got his shirt off. Yes.
Too long, if anything.
Yeah, of course. Just before 1757, I just want to see him with his shirt off and then tell us what year it is. The light streaming through the trees, they just blend in beautifully. I think it really, really works. Like I said, you don't know the motivations until you see that deer. And then they kill it, and that's an incredible shot where that kind of just flips over the camera and just lands. But then it's the way that it's honoured.
Yeah.
Well, honour your courage and speed and strength, and we're sorry to kill you, brother. And you kind of know, well, these guys are just the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
They're really efficient. They're part of the landscape. And I really hope these are the good guys, because these are the three I want to back all the way through the film. It sets them up perfectly, and you are in for the ride.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, pretty much instantly. I mean, I also love when a period film starts with just a big year on the screen.
Yeah.
That 1757's massive.
Massive.
And then the yellow titles. I'd never noticed that until you mentioned it, Westy. Now it's everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Every really good film's got yellow credits. There's a few we're falling down, but I think I'm just going to write a book about it.
And the opening shot, the Blue Ridge Mountains, as the score like booms over the top. I mean, come on. We'll get to the music, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite a clever opening with the deer hunt. Man just drops us straight into this world with no real setup, just three men running through the woods. And the way they tell this like little story, you straight away kind of get a sense of their skills as fighters, as they work as a team, and that spirituality. I also like how Chingachgook apologises to the deer after they've shot him. Like, sorry, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, a bit late now, but fine.
I say that every time I get fish and chips. Sorry, mate. I'm tartar sauce.
And then it's the dinner at the Cameron's cabin. That fleshes it out further, and that gives us more info about the world. They're like an isolated frontier family talking about their dealings with the British military, so we know they're going to crop up.
Yeah.
And we get more from the Mohicans' relationship. We get that Chingachgook's the father, Hawkeye and Uncas are brothers, and Hawkeye's on the lookout for a lady.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if one will come along.
Well, I mean, he is Hawkeye. I'm sure he'll spot one. Yeah, whatever he wants.
For sure.
And in preparation for the deer hunt scene, Daniel Day-Lewis learned how to hunt and track deer. He was able to identify by tracks how long it had been since a deer had left a footprint, so he knew if it was in the area or not. He didn't kill any deer, by the way, but he would just track them.
Oof, that's a relief.
Yeah. Did you say hoof there? No pun intended. Yeah, amazing.
That is classic Day-Lewis. He'd be still out there now if he had to be.
Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, as people probably expect, Daniel Day-Lewis, he did go method for this, so we've got a bit more on that later on.
Yeah, he really did.
And Chingachgook and Uncas are played by Russell Means and Eric Schweig. Schweig was a Canadian actor who had played Native Americans before and auditioned, but Russell Means actually wasn't an actor. He was known for his activism as the director of the American Indian Movement, and in 1973 was involved in the Wounded Knee occupation, where the American Indian Movement occupied the town for 71 days. It protested civil rights violations against Native Americans. Michael Mann knew Means from this incident and approached him about playing Chingachgook.
Nice.
Yeah, well, Means said that what drew him to the film was that it shows natives and non-natives interacting and being like integrated together, so it kind of proves that it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Dennis Banks, who plays On Gewa's Gone, the Huron tribe leader towards the end. Man knew him from that Wounded Knee incident as well.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think you can tell they were like activists first. I believe both of them in the roles.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It feels like they've both just come through a time machine.
Yeah.
It does, it works great, yeah.
Yeah. So after the meal at the Camerons, when we see Hawkeye, some Native Americans and a few white settlers playing lacrosse. This was a sport invented by Native American tribes in the 12th century, and tribes who played in the 18th century. I mean, one of my favourite things, sports, especially lacrosse.
I was going to say, here he is with his sports.
Every other Saturday down the lacrosse pitch.
Yeah, the creators game, Native Americans would call it, apparently.
Right.
But yeah, nice touch of historical accuracy, I think, with that visual message, because it shows the blend of cultures happening, where Man's, I think, telling us this isn't going to be a simple cowboys and Indians story as well.
Not exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks a bit rough for me, that.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit.
And then from here, we meet Cora and Duncan, and it always feels quite jarring, this scene, because we've been in the wilds of the American wilderness, and now we're watching this very English scene, genteel tea on the lawn.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point. You know, the point of the film is about this clash of cultures, and here it's drawn because I think they're trying to recreate one culture in place of another, and it doesn't work because it shouldn't be there at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I just want to shrivel up and die of cringe when Duncan just cannot take Cora's rejection of that marriage proposal.
It's horrific.
Oh, like, just have some dignity, man. Just take it on the chin. Be a gentleman about it, because he basically says to her, well, if you can't make your mind up, just do what your dad tells you, because that's fine. That's how marriage works.
Yeah.
But I just want to quickly talk about Stephen Waddington, because I think he's so good in this, because Duncan is a massive arsehole for most of the film.
Yeah.
But he redeems himself right at the end, and I think Waddington makes all of it really believable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that shift from the frontier to the British garrison, the first thing I noticed is kind of how authentic it all still looks.
Yeah.
I think the costume design, the production design, it's all brilliant.
Yeah.
But a key thing as well is those character intros where we meet Cora and Alice, two likeable sisters,
Yeah.
and then Duncan, Big Dunk. He is a walking red flag. He does ask Cora to marry him. Crazy, just proposing marriage to someone he's not even going out with.
Yeah.
And when she obviously says no, he's like, I think I know what's best for you better than you do.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Piss off, Duncan.
Right in the middle of a field as well as outrageous.
I know, where are they?
Yeah.
So a good character setup, so because we get a sense of Cora's strength, as well as Duncan being kind of sympathetic, but also problematic, and that all becomes important later on.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
But Richard E. Grant and Hugh Grant were both considered for the role of Duncan Haywood before Stephen Waddington was cast. And he'd worked on stage for the Royal Shakespeare Company, and man thought he captured the British obsession with honour and duty that he wanted in the role.
Just all the Grants. Do you not fancy Russell Grant?
Yeah.
Grant Mitchell, get him in there.
Grant Mitchell, yeah. Oi, Cora!
But I think you can see that RSC training in Waddington's delivery at times, I think.
Yeah.
Every time, I'll have you shot, man.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever actually says that. I just hear it every time he shouts.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I'll have you hanged, I'll have you shot, that kind of thing. Yeah.
But imagine Hugh Grant in there, though, stuttering his way through the marriage proposal.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Well, that's our opening. The frontier and the British Empire at odds already. We've met some of our main players, and the first physical collision is about to come.
Mm-hmm.
The Munro sisters are being escorted to Fort William Henry by Major Duncan, his troops, and their guide, the mysterious Huron warrior Magua.
Mm-hmm.
Magua, though, has other plans. His war party pounce, and Hawkeye, Chingachgook and Uncas swoop in to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
Time for our heroes to make a big entrance, Westy.
It really is.
What do you make of it?
I mean, this is fantastic stuff, isn't it? It's, just, it's that scene in the period that totally ripped this off.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That whole ambush scene. It's just this. But the build-up of this is incredible when Magua just turns round and starts walking back.
Oh, I love it.
And drops that tomahawk just down, and you just know, all right. And there's that poor kid who's just on the left of the column, and he just smiles at him, and he's like, do-do-do.
Tomahawk in the neck.
Tomahawk right in the face. Fuck you. He's out of there, and then it just goes into this absolute savage carnage. It just smashes in, and there's just so much confusion. And, you know, the muskets are going off, and they try to get some kind of formation, and they're firing into nothing. They don't know who's attacking them. They don't know how good they are. The bit that gets me is when they're hammering the English to the ground, and it's when the guy just gets scalped so quickly.
Yeah, in one shot.
And it's just, and it's just like, whoa, that's how it would look. Because normally it's like, we'll take our time and we'll just kind of milk it a little bit. That was like, bang, incredible. I mean, I'm just going to call them the lads because they are the lads. But it's absolutely class when the lads turn up.
The last of the lads.
The last of the lads. Just from behind a tree, you know, there's just this efficiency to them, and they've just got this incredible psychology between them where they're almost like telepathic with each other. They know where each of them is going to be and they know how each of them is going to operate. It's just absolutely wonderful. But I absolutely love the point where it just goes to that Michael Mann slow-mo, and you're like, right, it's Michael Mann.
Yeah.
And you've got Hawkeye, and he just spins that rifle in the bottom of the frame, and it just fluid.
Great shot.
It's just absolutely fantastic. And then Duncan puts the aim on Chingachgook, and he's like, no, your judgment's probably as good as your aim. The first of all these wonderful quips.
It's a great line, that, yeah.
And he just throws that. I don't even know what that thing is. I've never seen one before. But it's just like a Mohican snooker bat. Just this huge thing, and it just launches it through the air, and you go, all right, well, these guys are really fierce now. We've kind of seen them move now and see what they can do. I think this is just an incredible scene that really, really heightens attention.
Mm-hmm. It really does. I think my favourite thing there, Westy, was you referring to a snooker cue as a snooker bat.
Yeah, I always used to do that. I don't know why. Where's my snooker bat?
But yeah, we know early on that Mag was a right one when he's muttering away to Duncan in his own language, and he's talking about putting his tomahawk down when white women get hungry.
Yeah.
So literally got next to grind with Cora and Alice from the start. Yeah. But I think the ambush itself is so well staged.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like a horror film almost, the way the forest like erupts with the war cries.
Yeah.
That must have been terrifying back then to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the action's great. Not the best battle sequence we get by any means, but as a first one, it's a good taster of what's to come.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the first of two massacres, right? I mean, a film with two massacres in it is going to be good.
Yeah. There's your poster quote.
Loads of massacres.
Last of the massacres.
The Huron ambush isn't based on an actual event, but the Huron tactics are based on reality. Native American war parties would tend to attack British columns in places of dense forestry where the British muskets would be less effective.
Yeah, the soldiers don't stand a chance.
No.
They're fighting by, like, European rules in columns and ranks, which just doesn't work here at all.
Not at all. I would not be able to run fast enough. As soon as I hear them war cries, I am fucking gone. Bye!
And then we get one of the many emotional blows you get in the film where they go back to the Camerons' homestead.
Yeah.
And this scene owes such a heavy debt to the searchers, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah.
This is Ethan returning to the homestead.
Yeah.
To find it's been buried to the ground.
It's the same, isn't it? Basically, yeah.
It's pretty much exactly the same, and his family's been murdered. And I think this scene plays up the difference between the Mohicans and the Colonials really smartly, because you totally understand why Cora's first reaction is, well, we have to bury these people before we move on. When Hawkeye and his family refuse to, for a minute it plays into the opinion that Duncan has that these people are just savages and they don't care about anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's really smart writing, because it makes that later scene when Hawkeye explains to Cora, no, the reason we didn't bury them is because that's going to let the Hurons know that we are in the area and they're going to come after us.
Yeah.
It makes it all the more effective because it just punctures any prejudice that she has towards Hawkeye, and therefore any residual prejudices that the audience has. These people aren't savages, they're smart, and it did hurt them emotionally to leave those bodies out in the open.
Yeah, it's the same as Ethan, isn't it, when he finds her in the outhouse. He's like, don't let him in there. But his attitude's saying to stay where they lay.
Yeah.
She apologises to him as well for it. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great touch, that.
So we get back to the Camerons and we realise that spending time there wasn't just about setting up the world. Mum was getting us to know this family so we can then brutally murder them with more impact.
Yeah.
And that first exchange between Cora and Hawkeye, I think it's really good. Cora wants to bury the victims, like you said. Hawkeye says no, and she's like, almost as cruel as your indifference. And he's furious.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But I think that's a really smart piece of writing, because even though they totally disagree, it's obvious they share the same values.
Yeah.
Cora's angry that Hawkeye's seeming lack of compassion. Hawkeye's angry at Cora accusing him of a lack of compassion.
Yeah.
And that's then developed further when Hawkeye tells Cora and us his backstory in the forest, how his family was killed, he was raised by Chingachgook. But I think their relationship has developed really nicely in the writing.
Subtly as well.
Yeah, it is subtle. I'll tell you what I don't like, though. At the fort a bit later, when Big Dunk just bald-faced lies about what he saw in the farm. That is outrageous.
It's the worst thing he does.
Although setting up his art nicely as well, so it is all for a reason.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, but does he get the explanation as to why they left the bodies there? Because Cora does. I don't think he does.
No, maybe not.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
It is kind of justified because he doesn't get that level of attention from Hawkeye, does he?
Well, would you give him that level of attention that you give to Cora?
No. Wouldn't give that to you, fellas.
So the film is set in Albany, New York, but Mann decided to shoot in North Carolina instead. And that's because he felt the woods there looked more like the Adirondacks forests did in the 18th century. And the red brick bridge we see the British soldiers cross over is the Bass Pond Bridge on the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina, and that was built in 1893.
Oh, how good is that bridge shot, though?
Beautiful.
Yeah, straight out of Barry Lyndon.
It really is.
It's wonderful stuff. I could have watched that for another 20 minutes, just people just going over it.
Just going over the bridge.
If it was in Barry Lyndon, you probably would.
It probably would.
But yeah, some beautiful locations here, aren't there?
Yeah.
I think this is one of those films that makes you think, where was this shot when you watch it?
Yeah.
Because I'm going.
Yeah.
And that's the beginning of The Last of the Mohicans. We've met all our main players, Mohican, Huron and British alike. The frontier's erupting in violence and our characters are heading right into the heart of it.
Yep.
Should we talk about the man orchestrating all the chaos?
Let's do it.
Literally the man.
Man, the man. Manfred, man.
The director.
The director of The Last of the Mohicans was, as we've been talking about, Michael Mann. This was his fourth feature film, and at the time he was mostly known for slick thrillers like Thief and Manhunter, and he'd exec-produced classic 80s TV show Miami Vice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bit of a departure, stylish crime flicks to the colonial frontier, Matt. And he wrote the film as well, but first of all, how was Michael Mann's work as director on The Last of the Mohicans?
It's the least Michael Mann film he's ever made. Like, if his name wasn't on the film and I didn't know, and I went in this not knowing a single thing about it, zero chance I'd go, that's a Michael Mann film, that.
Yeah.
Because so many of his trademarks are absent from this. It's not set in the 20th century. It's the only period film he's ever made, I think. And so many of his films are about these kind of singular, very tough, brooding macho men at the heart of it. And that doesn't really apply to Hawkeye. Yes, he is tough, obviously. But he's also just really open about his feelings. You know, he's a romantic figure as well as an action figure.
Yeah.
And this doesn't take itself seriously in the way that his other films do. Yes, it is serious, but it's got real emotion to it at the same time. It's probably the only Michael Mann film that's got a real beating heart to it.
Yeah.
And obviously, you'd expect Michael Mann to nail the action sequences, which he does, and then some. You wouldn't necessarily expect him to nail the romantic scenes, which he also does. And it is, as we've been saying, it's a very romantic film.
Yeah.
Both in terms of the love story that comes out, but also in the more general sense in that it's beautifully shot and it's romantic about a way of life that simply doesn't exist anymore. So in a way, I don't quite understand how or why this is a Michael Mann film, but I'm very glad that it is.
Oh, as am I. I mean, yeah, he was very much known for working on pretty hard-hitting thrillers at this point, like we said. So people must have been thinking, this heist guy is doing a historical epic.
Nah.
Bit weird.
Yeah.
But I think it does still work in his filmography.
Oh, yeah.
Because he brings that, like, intensity I think he's known for to the 18th century. I think you can see some of his thriller sensibilities and how he stages the action. It's visceral, it's immediate, it's brutal at times. I mean, we'll talk about it as we go, but the siege at the fort, I think, does feel a bit like a Michael Mann shootout, just with muskets and cannons instead of machine guns and Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
But what I love is his attention to detail. I know that he spent months researching that period and place and getting as much right as he could. I mean, that's Mann the writer, really. But Mann the director then puts that on the screen about as well as he could. He does it brilliantly. From the costume design through production design, location shooting, it all looks authentic and excellent. I mean, this isn't some Hollywood backlot version of colonial America. No. When they're in the forest or when they're in the fort, you feel the weight of it.
Yeah.
And I think the way that he handles the romance is interesting as well, because one of the biggest challenges the film's got, I think, is this is part action film, part love story. So tonally, he's got to balance that. And I think he treats the romance scenes almost like action scenes because he makes them really visual.
Yeah.
There's not many long speeches or conversations between Cora and Hawkeye. No. It's all in looks and embraces and ripping each other's clothes off. And I think it works.
Yeah.
The only thing for me is, I don't think it's long enough.
Yeah.
There's 3 cuts of the film, and they're all between 112 and 117 minutes, less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think this would benefit from at least another 20 minutes or so in development.
I'd love that, yeah.
I'll go into specifics on what a bit later, but does it feel to you like some scenes have been like cut out when you watch it?
Oh, yeah, massively.
It feels like a bit like ITV. You've got their hands on it and went, oh, this is a bit long. Got to fit the adverts in, yeah.
Edited for television. Yeah.
So, not perfect, but in taking what is apparently a fairly turgid source novel and turning it into this really lean, really visual story, I do think this is top tier Michael Mann, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Matt said, like when I put this on, I would never in a million years have thought, oh, this is a Michael Mann film. Fantastic. And especially at that time, I would have thought this is more like Peter Weir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been Weir, yeah.
Yeah,
And, you know, it's got that kind of softness to it and that sense of adventure and that sense of romance that I just would not have put Michael Mann part of, especially at that point of his career. But I think he just goes in 100% with this, opening with them vistas.
Brilliant.
Just beautifully done. You know, Mel Gibson saw this and went, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm doing Braveheart. I'm making it longer. I'm making the romance as intense, but I'm taking that away. I'm going to add all the violence. I'm going to ramp that up, and I'm going to have these vistas and a huge soundtrack.
I think maybe Peter Jackson as well. 2 Towers starts like that, doesn't it?
That's my second one to reference was Lord of the Rings. It's like the way that opens up. It's fantastic. It's just got such a style to it that people are looking at going, why didn't I think of that? You know, and everyone just started to copy it afterwards. And the thing with Michael Mann is that he loves style, and he always has, but he also loves substance.
Yeah.
The shootout from Heat is stylish, but it's also used to teach people how to act within a shootout, how to reload a gun realistically.
He loves a bit of research, man, doesn't he?
Massively. This film is a lovely match of the both of them. It's a lovely marriage between the style and the substance, because I feel it's very authentic. You can kind of smell it, you can feel it. It's got a lot of respect to the subject matter, but at the same time, it's got that spin on it, that Michael Mann spin on it. And we're going to talk about the ending, and I'll talk about it now because I'll probably just cry when we talk about the end later on, so that's fine. I've seen it a million times with, you know, a protagonist get killed and fall off a mountain, fair enough. But have you ever seen a body slide the way Uncas slides at the end?
Oh, it freaks me out.
That's Michael Mann.
Yeah.
Because you don't need that particular element to happen, but that just slams the emotion home.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean about style and substance. That doesn't need to happen. But it's just this sense of tremendous scale. And he's not afraid of the scale. It's almost not big enough for him. I don't think the lenses are wide enough for him. I don't think the screen's big enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very intimate. He punches in really close to human relationships, to human struggles, to the history of the whole country and how that was dealt with for everybody. And it just really hits home. You learn a lot from this film, and you're entertained, and you're really moved. It's an incredible achievement. I think it's just pure Michael Mann, and I wish he did this a little bit more.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the film is based on an 1826 novel of the same name by James Fenimore Cooper, and Mann's adaptation is the best-known screen version now, but it was far from the first.
Yeah, that's right, because before this there were 10 other adaptations of the book, and the first was a silent film in 1909 that was directed by D.W. Griffith, and then there were 2 silent adaptations in 1911 and 1920.
Yes, mostly known nowadays for The Birth of a Nation, D.W. Griffith.
Yes.
Regarded as maybe the most racist film ever, so let's not get too much into that.
We'll leave that one there.
Yeah, that's not going on a poll.
We'll put a discreet veil over that one for now.
Yeah.
And then between 1920 and Michael Mann, there were 7 other adaptations, and the most well-known of these came in 1936.
Yeah.
That one was directed by George B. Sight and starred Randolph Scott as Hawkeye.
Right.
Yeah, he became better known as like a Western star in the 40s, Randolph Scott.
He did, yeah.
And in the 70s, Columbia approached Lindsay Anderson, you know, the director of If.
Oh, yeah.
About making a modern version of Last of the Mohicans. But he apparently went, forget that, how about we adapt the Grand Babylon Hotel instead? And then neither of them got made.
Fantastic. There's been no adaptations since this one, though, right?
Not on the big screen.
Perfect. So this really is the Last of the Mohicans. I love that.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Keep it that way.
The Last of the Mohicans.
Let's repeat that 10 times. And talking about the earlier versions, Michael Mann said he saw the 1936 version when he was 3 years old. I saw films when I was 3 years old. I don't remember them. But he said it rattled around his brain for 40 years. He realised that there hadn't been a great historical epic made in a long time, and that Last of the Mohicans was an important part of him. So he bought the rights to the novel in 1988. What a nightmare. Then Dances with Wolves comes out in 1990.
Yeah,
what a bastard.
Yeah. Well, 3 years old. I can't remember a single thing from being 3.
I think maybe Talos from Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, that's about it, yeah.
Something like that.
So Mann developed Mohicans on and off over the next few years and pitched it to Morgan Creek Productions and 20th Century Fox. They liked the idea and had faith in Mann after seeing Manhunter, and the fact they thought his background meant he'd be able to adapt it from a more modern audience.
Yeah, I mean, Manhunter was a big flop at the box office, so they must have been hoping to be for more like Miami Vice or something.
Yeah.
Hawkeye in a white blazer.
Love that. His bare chest, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said there, Wesley, Dances with Wolves was huge a couple of years before this.
It was.
That must have made it an easier sell to the studio, I'd imagine.
Gotta be, yeah, surely.
It must have been more of a positive for him than a negative, really.
Yeah.
Michael Mann already had a reputation for being a perfectionist as a filmmaker, and that carried into Mohicans during filming. Apparently, every scene was taken at least 20 takes before Mann was happy with it. So that guy got scalped 20 times.
Yeah.
I mean, and the production quickly fell behind schedule. Fox sent an executive to the set whose job was basically just to say to Michael Mann, "That's enough, Michael, move on," after a certain number of takes.
Imagine that job. Man, just one more every time.
Yeah. Imagine having that job in a James Cameron film.
Fear worse than death.
Yeah, you would get scalped.
Yeah.
Off James Cameron.
The release was delayed, though. It was due to come out summer 1992, but delayed to September. So maybe the studio were right to be concerned with the schedules.
Yeah.
But something the studio didn't have a problem with was Mann's commitment to authenticity, and some of the things he did included: the main cast and extras who played British soldiers were all trained in historic military combat for 3 months, and they were trained by a military advisor called Dale Dye, and some of the cast and crew spent a month in the North Carolina woods before shooting began.
Dale Dye, the military guy.
Yeah. Is there anything he hasn't done?
He's the go-to for Hollywood, isn't he?
For everything, yeah.
Platoon, Born the 4th of July, Casualties of War,
Saving Private Ryan,
Saving Private Ryan. He's worked on them all.
Forrest Gump.
He sometimes gets a cameo as well, I think, doesn't he? But there's nothing here.
You wouldn't have fit anyway.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, one of the Who run. Big Tash.
And the period weapons were all made by specialists. The tomahawks and knives were all custom made for each character by 2 expert bladesmiths called Daniel Winkler and Randall King.
Yeah, so Magwa's tomahawk was an exact replica of a tomahawk they found in the French and Indian War Museum in New York. And you mentioned it, Westy, but that close-up shot before the first battle where Magwa drops his tomahawk, ready to use it. Brilliant, that.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And then the guns, they were created by 3 American gunsmiths called Herschel and Frank House, Davide Pedisoli and Wayne Watson, and they made over 400 muskets for the production.
Yeah, I mean, not that I'm any kind of fan of guns, far from it, but Hawkeye's rifle, the Killdeer, it's called, that is a beautiful prop.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
It is.
And you might have noticed there aren't any American accents in the whole film, and this is because in 1757 those accents simply didn't exist at the time.
Yeah, of course, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice detail, that.
It's great detail.
Although I'm not sure what accent Day-Lewis is doing exactly. He sounds part English, part Irish.
A little bit, yeah.
Throwing some Scottish, he'd be Sean Connery.
Yeah, amazing. The first costume designer was James Aitchison, but he left early on when he didn't like Mann's hands-on style. Well, I mean, you have to, don't you? He was replaced by Elsa Zamperelli, and she was responsible for dressing about 800 cast members, Mohicans, Hurons, French and British. They researched period clothing, historic documents and paintings from museum collections and based their designs on that research.
Yeah, we've got a bit more on those paintings in the DP section, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But also I saw an interview with Day-Lewis, and he said they were wearing moccasins, but they were adapted, so the bottom of the shoes were like modern trainers with rubber soles.
Right.
Like clocks.
Yeah, high-techs.
Yeah, like the Verve. Ocean colour sea.
No wonder he's so swift through those trees. He like got a pair of like Reeboks on.
Lovely.
Before we finish on Michael Mann, we have an ATRM Patreon question. So one of the ever-increasing benefits of joining up is we answer your questions on the show, and we have one now from Gareth Binmore.
Hello, Gareth.
Hello, Gareth.
So Gareth says, another banger of a movie. My question is, how does The Last of the Mohicans portray Native American characters and cultures, and does the film challenge or reinforce the stereotypes we often see in Hollywood? Huge question from Gareth. So what are your thoughts, Matt?
I think the first thought is stereotypes often do have a grain of truth in them at the very start. And then it's, well, as he said, do you challenge that or do you reinforce that? And I think the first good thing this does, and obviously it's not the first one to do it, but obviously we're far away from Native Americans being portrayed by white men in brownface.
Yeah.
A horrific relic of the past.
Thank God.
So it's moved on that, thankfully.
Yeah.
But then you do have elements like, as Westy's been saying, when you see someone getting scalped. Now, obviously, you might think, well, that's a stereotype, isn't it? But that is how they fought, and that is how they killed people back then. So I think what it does is it just gives it more context. And I think it says by saying, you know what, they weren't all one homogenous tribe. You had various different tribes who wanted different things, and some of them got on well with the colonials. Some of them wanted to fight them. So I kind of feel like I'm sitting on the fence, but I think it does both. I think it does reinforce them, but then it gives more context to the stereotypes, which probably does challenge them in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm similar to you, Matt. It is a big question, like Native American representation in Hollywood. And I think Mohicans does this better than most productions of its time, but it is pretty complicated. Like, on the positive side, like we said, Mann cast actual Native American actors in the major roles, Russell Means, Dennis Banks, Wes Studi, and he gave them strong, complex characters.
Yeah.
Also, it's not just cowboys and Indians. Mann shows us different tribes with different agendas, not just one, like you usually get in Hollywood films. And as Russell Means said, he was drawn to the film because it showed natives and non-natives integrating and working together.
Yeah.
So that's all great, but it's still, at its core, I mean, it's a white saviour narrative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hawkeye's the hero, still the white guy saving the day. And despite the title character being Chingachgook, he calls himself the last of the Mohicans in the final scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The film's really about Hawkeye and Cora's romance. The Mohicans are very much secondary. So I'd say it's a step forward for sure, showing Native Americans as actual people who are individuals, but still does reinforce some Hollywood tropes that are a bit problematic, I think. So I'd say it's progress, but not perfect.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree with both of you on certain points, but I went back to kind of the Hollywood stereotypes and Hollywood depictions that I knew.
Yeah.
Because obviously being from where we're from, I haven't got a lot to draw on with, you know, Native Americans or Native American history, or we're not taught anything about that. Not many people are, unfortunately, and they should be.
No.
But that's not something that you can kind of delve into unless you have a real interest in it. And, you know, it was about 6 years ago I read Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee.
Oh, yeah, great book.
Oh, right, nice.
Opened my eyes a lot to kind of the culture and everything that it went through. It's an incredible book if you get the chance to read that. It really does open your eyes. But what I was put into was the John Fords, was the Searchers, was the John Waynes, was the Comanche, the absolute savages. There was no explanation whatsoever. No. Every time they were on screen, there was da-da. It was just this evil that was portrayed on screen. Fast forward to this, and I think this is a very progressive depiction. I think especially for 92, and we're forgetting that this was quite a while ago now, 92. This is quite ahead of its time. And I think what Mann does is he brings that style to their history as well as the substance. Everything feels authentic. And I would go to this and Dances with Wolves easily over like any John Ford or anything further back. If my kids wanted to know anything about it, I would kind of start here and say, you know, this is safe to say it has enough respect. I think what people are missing at the point is like it's more stereotypical of the French and the English of the time.
Yeah.
And that's good. If it's honest about that, then it's obviously honest about the Native American side of it as well. So if it's going to portray everything to the point and everything truthfully, I think it does that. What Mann does is I think he keeps everything on a level. He takes the politics out, but he adds in the emotion. You feel emotional for the people, and it makes you want to go away and find out more. And for me, that's always a progressive take on it. So I think for me, this is a win for factual stereotypes that actually work in a positive way. I think it's a real step forward, especially in 92.
I think Mann certainly comes across respectful of the Native Americans.
Oh, that's what I get from it. It's very respectful.
Yeah.
Well, for his work on The Last of the Mohicans, Michael Mann wasn't nominated for any Oscars. The winner of Best Picture that year?
So it's a couple of years after Dances with Wolves. So Schindler's List?
94.
That was 94. It was Unforgiven.
Huge.
A worthy winner, as we've talked about.
We have, yeah.
And the other nominees were A Few Good Men, Howard's End, Scent of a Woman, and The Crying Game. I think in retrospect, Mohicans might have been worthy of a nom.
Yeah.
I think so.
Definitely, yeah.
A cheeky nom.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Either way for us, this is Michael Mann bringing his classic attention to detail and intense filmmaking style to the historical epic genre, and mostly succeeding.
Very much.
Still stands up now for me, so that's a win.
The cast.
Michael Mann assembled quite the mix of actors for The Last of the Mohicans. We've got Oscar winners, method masters, Native American activists, and RSC actors all sharing the screen.
Yep.
We're going to be talking in detail about Madeline Stowe's Cora Munro, and Wes Studi is the villainous Magua, but we have to start with the man at the centre, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
We do.
So Daniel Day-Lewis plays Hawkeye, also known as Nathaniel Poe. A white man adopted and raised by Mohicans, we follow Hawkeye as he guides the Monroe sisters through the war-torn frontier, falls in love with Cora, and ultimately faces off against the Huron in the film's climactic battle.
Yeah.
No matter how long it takes, no matter how far, he will find you, Westy.
Good.
I mean, not you specifically.
Oh, it's a shame.
But how was Daniel Day-Lewis as Hawkeye?
I mean, how's Daniel Day-Lewis as Hawkeye? I mean, how's Daniel Day-Lewis in anything? I mean, it's just a silly question, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's just absorbed in the role. He disappears into the role as usual. I don't know if this is my favourite performance by him. To me, this feels more like he is leaning on the other guys. It's more of an ensemble kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They are all part of a group, and that group really works because you need that group dynamic so the ending really hits.
Yeah.
And he's the last person on that ending. He's not front and centre. He's not leading the charge. He's just part of a group, and it really works. But Christ almighty, is he magnificent to look at on screen. He's just so magnetic.
Yeah.
He's just so passionate about every line. He's so passionate about the performance. And the way he pours that into this character. I mean, he does it with every character, but I think he's just got such an incredible presence. You can see he's taking the time. There's not a part of him where we're going to cut to a wide shot and there's a stuntman.
Yeah.
You know, everything's like, put that on Day-Lewis, 100%. Even stuff he didn't have to do, I would imagine he's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone at the time who could have done this, because to me it seems very selfless as a performance. I think he's totally given himself to the film, and like he does with pretty much every film he's in, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does here. He absolutely elevates all of the material, all of them little quips. You know, like, have you not got anything better to do on the water today? They're trying to get away from the Huron.
Yeah.
It's just that level of realism that he brings to everything, especially here. I don't think it's my favourite performance because it doesn't stand out as much as everything else that he's done. It might be my favourite Daniel Day-Lewis as part of a cast, though.
He doesn't just run away with it, yeah.
He doesn't. He keeps up with everybody else. He actually lets them two guys run first and he's always behind.
Yeah, literally.
I literally feel like that's his performance. Everyone else shines. And I'll be honest with you, Day-Lewis doesn't really need dialogue in this film.
No.
Give him 2 lines and he still nails it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how good his performance is.
Yeah, I mean, not the kind of role you associate with Day-Lewis, really, the action star.
No.
He does it very well. He does that stoic hero thing, believably, and doesn't look out of place in the action scenes. I mean, knowing him like we do now, I think it's kind of fascinating watching Day-Lewis in the kind of role you normally see, like a Tom Cruise or a Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to see DDL as Christy Brown or Daniel Plainview, like intense character studies.
Yeah.
But here, sprinting through forests, he's diving through waterfalls, he's romancing the leading lady, and he makes it work. And I think that might be the key word. He made it work.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it came naturally. It was through his like sheer commitment, as always.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about his method madness in a bit. But what I like is how he plays Hawkeye's kind of dual nature. He can track deer through the forest with the lads, but he can also seduce the most beautiful woman in the world at the fort. And I believe both sides of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's his chemistry with other cast members that kind of brings it all together. He sizzles with Stowe as Cora.
Yeah.
He works well with Russell Means as Chingachgook.
Yeah.
He bounces off Steve Wallington as Big Dunk. So he drives the whole film, as a great lead performer does. So yeah, I think he's excellent.
Yeah.
It's definitely his fastest character he's ever played. All of the other ones are a slightly slow
Yeah,
burn.
yeah, yeah.
This is the
Yeah,
fastest
yeah.
one he's ever played.
I think it just proves a truly great actor can make anything work if they really commit to it. And, you know, I'm just going to borrow Westy's word here because he is magnetic here. You just can't take your eyes off him. And the one thing you're always going to get with Day-Lewis is authenticity in research. And when I'm watching him as Hawkeye, there's no doubt in my mind this is the lifestyle this man has been brought up in. When he's running and he's loading his rifle with gunpowder at the same time and he doesn't break stride, I just think, of course he can do that.
Yeah, of course he can.
When he's thrown himself into action with rifles and daggers and axes again, I'm just completely convinced by that. And then when it's not the action, and I think we're all seeing this, when you see the man underneath that Cora falls in love with again, completely convinced by that as well. And I know Tom Cruise has cornered the market on running in films lately, but sorry, he's got nothing on Daniel Day-Lewis here.
Yeah, fair enough.
When he takes off, he's like Usain Bolt. I mean, he's just so compelling. He's so authentic. And in a couple of episodes' time, we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. And we might talk about Day-Lewis there, because I believe he was in the frame for Aragorn at one point.
Yeah.
And you watch this and you go, yeah, I can see why Peter Jackson went to this performance straight off and thought, he'd be a good Aragorn.
Yeah.
For sure.
Michael Mann said that he wanted to cast Day-Lewis as Hawkeye after seeing him in My Left Foot, where he won an Oscar. Mann knew he wanted the actor who played Hawkeye to do a lot of training, and My Left Foot showed how Day-Lewis was able to commit to a role. Day-Lewis wasn't keen on the part at first, but said he changed his mind when he read the script. The deer hunt opening drew him in, and he said he'd do it.
Can't blame him for that.
No, not at all.
But yeah, Day-Lewis said that he didn't read the book until after I'd read the script, which was a good thing because he said if he read the book first, he wouldn't have taken the part.
Right.
Because Hawkeye in the book's like a white supremacist, apparently.
Oh, right. Wow.
Always like bragging about how there's not a drop of Native American blood in his veins.
Oh, God.
So, sounds like a nice fella.
And as we all know, Day-Lewis known for going to extremes in preparation for his roles, and this one was no different. Okay. So he went through a lot of weapons training, starting with modern firearms and then working back to muskets. And he also lived in the North Carolina forests, hunting and fishing and living off the land for a few months before shooting.
A few months?
A few months? Just do it for a week, mate. A week's fine.
Yeah. I saw an interview with Mann where he said if Daniel didn't shoot or trap anything, he didn't eat. Nuts. Daniel Boone.
The specific thing he trained in was firing his rifle while running.
Wow.
He was trained by a historical reenactor called Mark Baker how to reload a flintlock rifle while running. This is something frontiersmen at the time had to train specifically how to do, as it was so difficult, and we see Hawkeye do it in the film.
Yeah, he does it in the opening scene, the deer hunt, so look out for that.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Also, apparently, at the time the film was made, there were only 3 people in the world capable of reloading a flintlock rifle while running.
Yep.
And one of them was Daniel Day-Lewis.
One of the other ones was me.
And the casting director was Bonnie Timmerman, and she said whether Day-Lewis was running, eating, or making love, it didn't matter. He was always in character. And after the shoot, he said he had a hard time shaking the character and suffered hallucinations and claustrophobia because he wasn't used to being indoors so much.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why he only did one film every few years. The
Yeah.
prep and then like the deacclimatizing afterwards probably took longer than the shoot.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But also, making love in character.
Yeah.
Sounds like she might be giving away too much there, Bonnie.
I'll take her word for that, yeah.
For his performance as Hawkeye, Daniel Day-Lewis received no Oscar nomination. Winner that year was Al Pacino for Scent of a Woman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah.
But for us, this is Daniel Day-Lewis proving he can do action hero as convincingly as he does, well, everything else.
Everything else he's ever done, yeah.
Yep.
Moving on from our male to female lead, and Madeline Stowe plays Cora Munro, the elder daughter of Colonel Munro, grey hair to his enemies.
Yeah.
We follow Cora as she rejects the safe choice in Duncan, falls for Hawkeye, and shows kindness and courage aplenty as she navigates the frontier war.
Yeah.
She's better looking than Jack Winthrop, that's for sure, Westy.
That's for sure, mate, yeah.
How is Madeline Stowe and Cora?
I mean, Madeline Stowe in this film is just unapologetically beautiful.
She really is.
Yeah.
Flawlessly beautiful, like an oil painting beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't even matter how she's lit. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, Michael Mann just would look at any frame and just be like, that just really works. Just fill the frame with her face. But even in wide shots, just her whole presence really works. And she sells this character of, you know, the protector, and she has a real maternal kind of instinct, but also this kind of misspent youth. You feel like she spent a lot of her time looking after Alice. You get all that backstory, and she brings all of that without any dialogue whatsoever. There's a real regret and a real weight that she brings to the character, especially when she's talking to Duncan at the start. It's like, this isn't the place I need to be. It's not a place I want to be. And she's always looking for a way out, but she's always trying to do the right thing. I mean, when she gets to the fort, and she immediately just turns into a nurse.
Yeah.
And just starts helping people.
Yeah.
But it's not a pretentious nature. She's not like out of place doing it. She doesn't get squeamish by it. And I think Madeline Stowe plays this with a real ferocity.
Oh, yeah.
She is beat for beat with Day-Lewis. Like, you can understand them two falling in love with each other.
Totally.
On a parallel. Not because of he feels sorry for her or she's completely taken by him and he's going to protect her forever. You can see them just like on a level. And I would like to see another cut of this where, you know, they stand at the end and they're looking out at the vista, but instead of cutting to the credits, she's running through the forest, just with a fucking headband on and just a big rifle. And she's at the front and she's like whipping it over and shooting the deer, and he's like, yes. And like, she's the last of the Mohicans. Get that in your face. And you could kind of maybe see that, not to that degree, but you can see her fitting in that she's not out of place anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Her role is not to be where she is, and I think she plays it really well. Like I say, her character has conviction, she has confidence, she has the look, she has the style. Every single thing that she does, every kind of single hit that she plays, is perfect. It really does work for the character. It's of the time, it's of the period, but at the same time, it does have a very kind of positive female message, and that she's not going to be fucked about, she's not going to be messed with, she can stand up for herself, and I really like that, bringing that sensibility to it, and she really does bring that.
She does, for sure. Like a part romance film, obviously, and that's where most of Cora's scenes come, but she's not just some please save me damsel in distress.
No.
I think she's a great character. She's like strong and soft. She's tough and romantic. And Madeleine Stowe definitely has the acting chops to pull off the dramatic scenes that she gets. And there's a few. But I think her best moment might come when Cora's arguing with Duncan and her father. And she shouts, I know exactly what I'm saying. And if it's sedition, I'm guilty of sedition too.
Yeah.
Great delivery. Always, I think, but especially there.
Yeah.
And she has to carry quite a lot of the film, really. She's the emotional centre. She's the person whose journey we're following from British lady to frontier survivor. She's probably the character we relate to most. I mean, unless you spend a few months in the woods. And she makes that pretty big arc, like, believable. I think what works well, and that I like, is that Cora's intelligent.
Yeah.
She's probably the most intelligent person in the film.
Yeah.
She sees right through Big Dunk's nonsense in the first act. She challenges her father. She recognises what Hawkeye is immediately. And like you're saying, Westy, that attraction between Cora and Hawkeye works so well because she's his equal.
Yeah.
But she does have action to do as well, running through the forest in those massive period costumes can't have been easy.
No.
And she's like a lady who isn't afraid to get her hands dirty, which is pretty classic stuff.
Yeah.
But I think Cora's one of the best examples of that kind of character. And I think Madeleine Stowe is really, really good in the part.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is related either, but I mean, in 1993, we had that massive series, which was Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman with Jane Seymour in it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I feel like this is a massive influence on that kind of character. I think she plays very much into this exactly what Cora's character is.
Yeah.
It's around about that same time.
Big hit that as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was massive.
I think there's a real balancing act here because with Cora on one hand, you have to be realistic to the time in the setting and who Cora is. And the fact is, back then, women would be taking a backseat during a war. People like Cora and Alice, they would be protected and shielded. So you can't have Cora just charge and interaction like Keira Knightley in Pirates of the Caribbean, because that would just destroy the realism. But on the other hand, you want Cora to have agency as a character, not just be a damsel in distress. And I think they get that balance spot on because, yes, she's out of her comfort zone here, but she adapts very quickly and she's so resourceful. She immediately realises that Hawkeye knows what he's talking about because this is his territory, and so she immediately starts to defer to his authority rather than Duncan. Like she sees straight through him.
Yeah.
And she learns from Hawkeye. So during the ambush we're going to talk about later, when she picks up that gun and shoots the Huron warrior with one shot, I totally believe she's smart and brave enough to do that.
Class.
That could be really cheesy. It could have been a cliche, but it's not. Totally by that moment. And the scene you've talked about, John, when she stands up for Hawkeye to her father, it's so powerful because I believe she's brave enough to do that.
Yeah.
And so much of that is down to Stowe, and I think she's great in this. And her hair, almost as magnificent as DDL's.
You're not wrong.
Almost,
but not quite. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't wash it in a waterfall, you can tell. He definitely uses Timothy.
Well, the casting of Madeleine Stowe wasn't a formality. Some pretty big names were considered to play Cora. Andy McDowell was one.
Okay.
Right.
Could see, yeah.
She likes a good raining scene, so she'd have been good under that waterfall.
She does.
Yeah, she does, yeah.
Kim Raver screen tested, and apparently the part was turned down by two very big names in Jodie Foster and Sigourney Weaver.
Wow.
Right.
Weaver would have kicked Magwa's arse up and down the Hudson River.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That wouldn't have worked.
And she initially said she wasn't interested in the film at first until a man told her to read the script as a love story, not an action film. And then she was cast after auditioning and making it through the screen testing process. And Mann said she embodied the intelligence and passion he wanted for the role. And actually, in 1978, Stowe had appeared in a TV movie called The Deer Slayer, which is also based on a James Fenimore Cooper novel about Hawkeye. And she said that meant she had an understanding of what that world was like going into the auditions.
Nice.
Which you can tell. I think she fits into the period pretty seamlessly, doesn't she?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Read it as a romance, not as an action film.
Yeah.
What do you do? Just blast the soundtrack through a letterbox.
Wouldn't put it past Michael Mann.
No.
And Stowe said she didn't tell Daniel Day-Lewis why Cora fell in love with Hawkeye and asked him not to tell her why Hawkeye fell in love for Cora. She said she wanted it to feel natural and not rational, which definitely comes across.
Yeah.
Animal attraction, isn't it? Good-looking girl, good-looking guy, straight in there.
Boom.
That's all you need.
But it does work really well. Despite there not being much at all explaining the bond between them, I totally believe it.
Yeah, there's moments, isn't there? You're kind of like, what are you looking at? I'm looking at you, miss.
What a line.
Fantastic, right? But try doing that.
If you're not Daniel Day-Lewis.
If you're not Daniel Day-Lewis, you are getting arrested.
And behind the scenes, Stowe and Day-Lewis said they got on really well and were often playing practical jokes with each other. It started off with food fights and apparently peaked when Day-Lewis and the chauffeur staged a car crash whereby Stowe would stumble upon Daniel Day-Lewis all bloodied in the wreckage.
Bit far, maybe. Probably traumatised her.
I don't know. Do you think?
Again, I'm not sure how much the off-screen plays a part, but there's definite chemistry between them, I think, isn't there?
Real chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Day-Lewis is going to play a joke like that, he would have just crashed it for real.
Yeah, he probably did, yeah.
He's in the hospital for 6 months just for a joke.
Well, as with the rest of the cast, Madeleine Stowe received no major award recognition for her work as Cora, but for us, providing the emotional heart of the film and holding her own opposite Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Very good stuff from Madeleine Stowe.
Oh, fantastic stuff, yeah.
She's great.
That's our good guy and good girl, and now we're going to talk the villain of the piece in Wes Studi as Magua. A Huron warrior whose quest for vengeance drives the film's conflict. We see Magua as he infiltrates the British ranks, pursues the Munro sisters, and kills Uncas before meeting his own maker at the hands of Chingachgook.
Yeah.
Magua's heart is twisted, according to Hawkeye Westy.
It is.
But how is Wes Studi as the Huron war leader?
He's perfect for me.
Yeah.
He's fucking excellent because he's terrifying.
Yeah.
He's filled with hate and vengeance and fire and this absolute need for bloodthirsty carnage.
Yeah.
And you can see it written all over his face. You don't know where he's been, you don't know what he's done, you don't know what he's seen, but you're quite aware that it's horrendous. And he wears that all the way through. Like, everyone around him is shit scared of him.
Yeah.
He moves through his whole crew of everybody, the whole war party, and everyone's out of his way.
Yeah.
And Wes Studi just brings this 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
it should be really quite cringe when he's talking about himself in the third person. But you realise that he's just completely detached from reality. He's completely detached from who he is, and he's living as this kind of like ghost almost of his former self. But the way he sells it, I mean, some of his lines are just incredible. He just ignores everything that's going on. It's like Wes Studi's just ignoring the script. Like, he's got to kill Greyhair and his two daughters. That's it. And he's just not fazed by anything else that's going on. He brings a darkness to the screen. Whenever he's on the screen, it's just this shadow that's just cast over the audience. He's incredibly, incredibly terrifying. And I'm so surprised that Wes Studi didn't get more horror roles off this.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, he has such range here. And he's very, very exciting to watch again and again, because no matter what you think of this film, that is a villain. And it's a really good villain. And it's a really well-played villain. And it's not one I've seen before, and I very much doubt it's going to be one I'm going to see after.
Tell you what, though, hates the grey hair, doesn't he?
He fucking hates him, man.
Furious about the grey hair. I mean, Munro's men killed Magua's family, so it's fair enough.
That is fair enough, but the French captain goes, so why do you hate the grey hair so much? And then he goes, when the grey hair is dead, Magua's going to cut his heart out and eat his heart. And then he's going to bring his children under the knife so that his seed is gone from the earth forever. And the guy's like, well, yeah, that's cool, but why do you hate him? I'm going to start putting myself in the third person. Like, Westy's going to do this.
Yeah, but going after poor Cora and Alice isn't justice, and that's where you can't have sympathy for him.
No.
So as a villain, he's nicely written. Hardly anything we haven't seen before, vengeance, but it does work. I do love how he talks about himself in the third person.
It's fucking great.
Magua said, understand English very well. So that's a nice touch in the writing. But the thing that elevates him for me is Wes Studi playing him.
Yeah.
I think his biggest dramatic moment maybe comes in that scene where Magua explains himself to Montcalm, the French general. He gives us the backstory, why he wants vengeance. Studi is excellent.
Yeah.
And for a moment, you kind of feel for Magua. There's more there than just, like, bad guy.
Yeah.
And just the way he carries himself, I feel this constant tension that he could unleash at any minute.
Yeah.
But he's also calculating, he's intelligent, as great villains usually are. He fools the English at the start by getting behind their lines. He seems to have Montcalm wrapped around his finger as well.
Yeah.
So, really good bad guy. And I think Wes Studi is massively memorable playing him.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just a great, great villain. I mean, he never seems to come up on the lists of great cinematic villains.
He doesn't.
And I've no idea why. He brings so much to this. I'm constantly tense whenever he's in the scene, because the brilliant thing about him is he's playing everyone for fools. He's playing up that dumb native trope because he knows that's all anyone thinks he is. And by playing that up, he can get himself in exactly the position he wants to be, which is near Monroe. Completely plays the British for fools. Yes, he's a bit more honest with the French, but even so, he's still using them to get to Monroe. He's not working for them by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
And every threat he issues, you fully believe he's capable of doing it. You know, you fully believe he's going to take out Monroe's heart, which he obviously goes and does. So you're completely in fear for Cora and Alice if he does get hold of them.
Yeah.
But I think what elevates him for me is that as much as he's terrifying and an absolute bastard, and you've touched on it, John, there's a tiny, tiny part of me understands where he's coming from, because ultimately this is his land that's been invaded and being taken over by the British and French, and they've killed his family. You know, colonialism is one of the great stains on human history.
Yeah.
And obviously he takes his revenge to horrific extremes. But a little part of me just goes, I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is because he just looks so great as Magua.
Oh,
he's got a great villain's face, hasn't he?
He does,
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic, yeah. And when they punch in closer, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, great.
But, I mean, he makes us question Elmo's motives, because that's the only one I can think about who talks in the third person about themselves. What do you really want, Elmo?
Ask Elmo what he thinks of the grey hair. You might change character.
Elmo doesn't like to grab and eat his heart. What the fuck?
So as we mentioned a few times now, Dances with Wolves had been released in 1990 and had won 7 Oscars, and that was also a film set on the American frontier and featured a tribe of Native Americans, where one of the antagonists was played by Wes Studi. And Mann wanted somebody who could talk the Huron language believably to play Magua, so had Studi audition and he won the role.
Yeah, kind of supporting antagonist to the main villain. So nice career progression there.
Yeah.
And Mann did cast him in Heat as well, didn't he?
He did, yes.
He's one of the LA cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomahawk under his desk, probably.
Probably. Like Russell Means, Wes Studi had been an activist before he became an actor. He was also at the Wounded Knee incident and was arrested. It was the late 80s when he turned to acting.
Yeah, he'd also been in The Doors, and this is the character name in the credits, as the Indian in the desert.
All right.
Okay.
Not Wayne's World 2.
Didn't reprise the role for Wayne's World 2.
I
No.
knew you were going to say that.
And it wasn't just the activists. In total, Mann hired about 900 Native American actors from all over the US to play extras. And another bit of authenticity around Magua is that his face tattoo wasn't an original design. It was based on a famous painting called The Death of General Wolfe by Benjamin West. And the painting depicts the death of an American general when Iroquois warrior watches him die, and he has face markings the same as Magua's.
Yeah, 1770 that painting's from. The Battle of Quebec it's based on.
Right.
I love it when directors take from paintings.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Mann does that quite a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about another example or two in this film as well coming up.
Yeah.
Wes Studi didn't receive any Oscars recognition for his work as Magua, but in creating a memorable villain, one of the standouts in the film for us.
Oh, definitely.
Really underrated, I think.
Yeah, massively.
So that's our main cast. Daniel Day-Lewis going full method as Hawkeye, Madeline Stowe providing the heart as Cora, and Wes Studi creating a great vengeful villain in Magua.
Yep.
Some wider cast members were mentioned as well, and a roster that brings both authenticity and movie star power, which I think is what Mann was probably going for.
That's exactly what he was going for, and he nailed it.
And that's what he gets.
The middle.
Heading into the middle of the last of the Mohicans, and we arrive at Fort William Henry, where relationships deepen and we see the brutality of 18th century warfare.
Yep.
We're going to look at the massacre that follows the fort's surrender, obviously. But first, it's life at the fort.
It is.
So our party arrives at Fort William Henry to find it under siege by the French. Inside, tensions rise as Colonel Monroe, played by Maurice Roves, refuses to release the colonial militia despite their promises, and romance blooms between our leading man and lady.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mortars and trenches, Westy.
Yep.
How's it all working for you?
I mean, there's a lot going on here, isn't there, when they first arrive? I think that wide shot is fantastic. It's
ridiculous.
Just lighting up the sky.
Yeah.
Them red flashes, there's smoke everywhere. It's all just so well done. And you can just be like, well, this is Dante Spinotti all over, because this fort is red, orange, dangerous. From that wide shot, we're thinking, that's where they're going.
Yeah.
Great. Let's just go there then. Fantastic. You've got that incredible kind of tracking shot, or it's a dolly shot, where it's just coming across and you're seeing the scale of everything that's going on. It kind of reminds you of the start of Gladiator, but it's in the dark.
Yeah.
It's quite reminiscent of Spartacus as well. Them battle scenes where there's always something happening, no matter where the camera's looking or where you're looking, there's always something going on.
Yeah.
And it's so well planned out and it's so well blocked. But we're not in the action. This isn't our fight. This is more an observation of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're skirting past it because of the way the camera moves.
It's some scene to have in the background, isn't it?
Exactly. And it just feels like, oh, this is happening. Just have a look at that if you want to. It's not that important.
Yeah.
Because you could just have them flashes from outside and have them arrive at the boat and see a couple of bits of cannon fire and they're trying to dig the trenches. That's fine. You don't need these massive sweeping vistas of like the depth in the frame with all these people happening. You don't need them. But when you see them, you definitely want them.
Oh, yeah.
You're just absolutely part of it. It gives us like, you know, how terrifying it must have been that you're going to siege that fort, that you have to go in front of it and put up wooden fences basically and dig a trench. It's just absolute madness, but you get what's going on and how close they are and how determined both sides are, want to defend and want to attack. And we're moving around the side of it. We're not going through it.
Yeah.
And that's what Mann does with this. It's not our fight. We're not part of it, but we soon will be.
Yeah. I mean, it does look massive, the siege, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There is a great tracking shot when we first get to the fort, which moves across the whole battalion set and shows us how big it is. Brilliant. Reminds me of Paths to Glory, the tracking shots in No Man's Land.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I know that historians have said this is one of the most accurate 18th century battles ever put on film. The way the French battlements are like built on a slope to deflect the mortar fire is realistic apparently, so they've definitely done their homework, which is great. But I love as well how Mann shows inside the fort as this like kind of pressure cooker. Everyone's trapped, the walls are getting pounded, and inside people are really starting to like crack. And still manages to get some romance going in the middle of it all. The old dog.
That's the best place for it.
The heart of the storm.
Yeah, fire everywhere.
Yeah, and then they're in the fort and you get the culmination of the love triangle, and I just think, oh my God, what is it going to take for Duncan to take the hint here? Zero interest in him. She's already fobbed him off once. He's flat out lied about the bodies at the farm to screw Hawkeye over, who's basically saved their lives for the past however many days they've been on this journey. And he's trying to get in there again.
Yeah.
What an absolute idiot. Because at this point now, I mean, it's so clear now, we've talked about, but that chemistry between Cora and Hawkeye, I mean, you talk about a relationship on screen that's born out of smouldering glances and body language around each other and just sheer chemistry, and that is absolutely these two. I mean, fair play to Cora. She knows exactly who she wants, and she doesn't shy away from getting them. But I'm just glad that Michael Mann shows some restraint here, because if you look at Manhunter, if you look at Heat later on, there's some very cringy sex scenes he does which are very overdone.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we don't get that here. It's just done with real sensitivity, you know. Once they embrace, it's just that cut to Cora in Hawkeye's arms, where they're just lit on that one side by the orange.
Yeah.
That is so effective. That tells you everything about those two.
Yeah.
And the chemistry between them, it's just radiating off screen.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, Hawkeye's in character, isn't he? He's not allowed to be cheesy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, Cora finally putting Duncan out of his misery, like the dog he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank God.
He takes it about as well as you'd expect, gets hysterical.
Not well, yeah.
Not well at all.
But that moment in the barracks between Hawkeye and Cora, what are you looking at, sir? I'm looking at you, miss. Absolutely massive.
Yeah.
It is massive.
It's some lingering look that on the back of it. Cora dumps Duncan, Hawkeye abandons his men, and then the steam straight in there. There's no other words. But I buy it. Day Lewis and Storm make it work. And in the love scene, a touch that I like as well is that the love theme's playing, obviously, but it's diegetic. The band in the fort are playing it, so the characters can hear it as well, which is nice.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
But it works really well. It feels like a proper classic movie romance to me, which I think is surely what Mann's going for.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. 100%.
In the siege of Fort William Henry that we see, that was a real historical event during the French and Indian War. The French forces were led by Louis-Joseph de Montcalm, who we see in the film, and the siege resulted in the British surrendering and then being massacred as they left the fort, like in the film.
Right.
Spoilers, Matt. Not got to that bit yet.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm not one to massively criticise when Hollywood moves away from the truth for dramatic purposes, but it's also good when you know the events you're watching are kind of close to how they happened as well.
Yeah.
The real fort was destroyed by the French immediately after the British left in 1757, but a full-size replica was built on the same site in the 1950s, and it's still there today.
Wow.
Mann said that wasn't suitable to film. A full-size replica was built in 1950, and that's not suitable.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. Well, to be fair, he said the area wasn't isolated enough, so they set about recreating the fort as a set.
Yeah. Just didn't tell the studio about the replica that was already built.
Never heard of it.
Got to build our own. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it's done now.
So they built the set on the shore of Lake James in North Carolina, and they managed to get their hands on the real plans and specifications that were drawn up for the fort, and they based the set on those plans.
Nice.
Wow. 1755, the fort was built originally, so those plans were almost 250 years old.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah.
He loves it, man, doesn't he?
Of course
He
does.
absolutely does.
He loves it. I love that he loves it. It's
Yeah,
great.
of course, yeah.
Wasn't even in the script until he saw the plans. That when he fought.
And the fort was built at full scale, taking about 2 months. It was built using timber taken from the local forests, and the set had bastions, log palisades, barracks, and a parade ground, just like the real fort.
Wow.
$6 million it cost to build that set. And we're there, like, what, half an hour?
Yeah. I don't remember seeing a parade ground, I'll say that much.
Colonel Monroe is played by Maurice Roves, a Scottish actor. The real Monroe never married and didn't have children, and he was Irish, not Scottish. And the first person offered the part was Brian Cox, but he turned it down.
Yeah.
Imagine him in the fort. I fucking love it in here. I fucking love it.
But yeah, meeting Monroe is crucial as well, and Maurice Roves, I think, plays him really well, like gruff Scotsman.
Yeah, he's good, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good.
I mean, if he was Irish, though, they could have got Connery in there. He loves an Irish accent.
Oh, that would have been great.
For like a couple of scenes before he ditches it, obviously.
And the scene where the courier runs from the fort to get reinforcements and Hawkeye covers him with his rifle, that's also based on reality. In the real siege, Monroe did send 3 couriers to General Webb at Fort Edward asking for reinforcements, and Webb sent a letter back saying no, he should surrender instead.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But nice little action scene, that, isn't it, when Hawkeye protects the runner? I think it's really well shot.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So the siege obviously was shot over a few nights. Mann wanted the cannon fire to be realistic and leave trails of smoke behind when they fired. So they painted basketballs black and fired them from the cannons. Should have had like baskets at the other side. 6 million, you could get a couple of them, surely. Jordan just slam dunk. And there's a well-known anecdote that after one long night of shooting, Mann got so furious and yelled at the crew to turn out that large light. And the crew member said, "That's the sun, Michael."
Don't care, get rid of it. Ruining the shot.
Get us a flag right now. Scrim it out.
The cannon fire does look great, though, with those massive plumes of smoke we get.
Yeah.
That's how it really looked, apparently, at the time.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
And that is Fort William Henry. Spectacular warfare, blossoming romance, and tensions rising. Mm-hmm. But the real devastation is about to come.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
From the siege, we move to the most brutal sequence in the film. Montcalm offers terms, Monroe accepts, and the British march out of Fort William Henry.
Yeah.
Magwa's not having it, though.
Definitely not.
And the Huron attack, massacring the British line.
Yeah.
It's all going wrong, Matt. How does it all play out for you?
I mean, you can feel the exhaustion in the British when they go to accept those terms or discuss the terms. But it's really funny when Monroe and Montcalm come face to face for the first time, because Montcalm gives that incredibly flamboyant bow when he takes his hat off.
He really does.
And Monroe just takes his hat off and then just nods at him.
It reminds me of Pepe Le Pew when he does that.
Yeah.
And Christoph Waltz would be amazing in that.
Oh, he would be. He'd have been incredible. It's like, sorry, we're British. We don't do any of that nonsense. We are proper blokes. A nod will do.
Yeah, we don't make love with our faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's just the madness of war summed up here, though, because they spend however many days trying to blow each other to pieces. Now they're trying to act like gentlemen. And you can see Magua is seething at this.
No.
Like, Monroe's in his sight and he wants bloodshed. I mean, we know what he wants to do to him. But he's having to watch this, like, charade play out in front of him instead. But Duncan is almost as bad. Like, when they find out Webb has told them to surrender, Webb can burn in hell and we'll go back and dig our graves behind those ramparts. Like, calm down, mate.
All right, man.
You've got an out here. You should take it. So I think this scene moves the narrative along nicely. Really great visual, obviously, of all the British leaving the fort. But it feels like quite a cut-in scene as well, to like point out the ridiculous nature of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Duncan lying to Monroe earlier about the frontier attacks comes back to haunt everyone. Because if Monroe had known the truth, he might make different decisions here.
Yeah.
And he surely wouldn't march his people out into a likely ambush like he's about to.
Oh, God, no.
Well done, Dunk.
Yeah.
Duncan Go Nuts.
I think I'd say Duncan Goodhue there.
I don't know who that is.
And the terms Montcalm gives to Monroe are very close to the ones given in real life, though not exactly right. They were allowed to march out of fort, unharmed by the French troop in their colours, but they weren't allowed to keep their weapons. They had one cannon, and that was all.
Yeah, I mean, Monroe's not happy, but to be honest, I think the terms that Montcalm gives them are more than generous.
Pretty good.
March out with full honours, keep your weapons, which is mad, and safe passage to Albany. I don't know what he's complaining about.
No.
So when they leave the fort, they've still got the weapons. False sense of security, I think.
Yeah, just a bit.
And then they come to this kind of clearing. It's an incredible wide shot because we just see them so small in this landscape. But they're surrounded by these tree lines either side. And we've seen it happen before in a smaller ambush earlier on in the film.
Yeah.
And this is just exactly the same thing, just on a much larger scale. And when you hear them cries from the inside of the trees, and you just think, well, Hawkeye's, he's in chains. Like, what's he supposed to do? How's this going to work?
Yeah.
And just to add to the tension, add to the realism, and just to add to the sense of dread, Mann just leaves the score off.
Yeah, great.
For the start of this, and all the muskets just start firing, and it's just pandemonium.
It is chaos.
Just absolutely fly into the ranks, start hacking everyone to pieces, left, right, and centre, and then, thankfully, at just the right time, the music starts to kind of creep back, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you see the chains hit the ground, you see the lads all together, he's got his rifle back, then they're going for it. And from that moment on, this is an absolute joy of an action sequence.
Yeah.
It's an absolute joy of a romance sequence.
Yeah.
It's absolute joy of a thriller. It's just got all of these elements to it, which really, really work. And Mann's going, right, what have I got in my toolbox here to make this work? And he uses as much as possible. He uses tracking shots, he uses handheld shots, he's got slow motion in here, he's got character reveals from nowhere, he's got close-ups, he's got stunt work, everything works. But from the moment when he comes out of nowhere and he grabs Alice's face and then Cora straight in, and you see Hawkeye just scream her name, and you know he's shouting Cora, just falls to her knees, then there's the knife to her throat. It's just an incredibly brilliant action sequence and a build of tension. And like I said earlier, when he actually connects that tomahawk to that guy's face, I'm not an advocate of violence, but fucking yes, man. It's wonderful because the sound's perfect.
Yeah.
And he stands up and there's that like wide shot where they're both in there, and he turns and faces Cora, and the music just swells.
It's great.
Oh,
When they embrace, brilliant.
and it's just incredibly powerful. It's just like, wow.
Yeah, that moment they embrace, to do that without it being cheesy with modern sensibilities is really hard, I think, but he pulls off.
Really hard, and to be surrounded by what's going on.
Yeah.
And for them to just focus on each other and not think, well, you're in the middle of a massacre. This is unrealistic.
Exactly.
It really works because it feels like a dream sequence almost.
Yeah.
And they see the canoes, and then it's like, right, we're going to finally get away. But from that moment, like, they're never ever free. From that moment, they're always on the run.
Yeah.
From that moment, you never ever know how this is going to play out. But that whole massacre sequence, from that wide shot to that embrace, that's an incredible 6 or 7 minutes
It really is.
of Michael Mann at his very, very best.
That wide shot that starts it all off, it shows the trail we're about to walk down. Huge trees either side.
Yeah.
It's like, don't go down there. You know these guys love hiding in the bushes. They love it. Sitting ducks.
Where else are you going to go, John?
Just go round.
Just go round. Don't go through. Go between them, are you crazy?
But it's great how we get those shots of the Huron in the trees, creeping along with the party. I love how it all starts so quietly. Just one guy comes running out with his tomahawk.
Yeah.
And they can't tell what's going on at the other end of the line. And then total chaos.
Yeah.
The war cries and the gunfire and people like running everywhere. I mean, it's horrific. It's terrifying. But great filmmaking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, fantastic stuff.
I think this is maybe the first time the two sides of the film and the action and the romance really come together.
Yeah.
Cora does get a moment. I like it when she blows that Huron away right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye sprinting up the battle, only interested in getting to Cora. That's great. And then when he gets there and that Huron has hold of her, he hits him with about 5 death blows. He's dead then.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen this before. Characters trying to save people in the middle of a big battle, and it sometimes doesn't work because it's just like abandoning all their principles.
Yeah.
But here, Hawkeye has no allegiance to either side, so it makes total sense. He'd make a byline for Cora.
Yeah.
And the way it's shot, like wide shots and slow motion, handheld cameras, the smoke everywhere. I think it's fantastic. It's one of my favourite ever battle scenes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I just completely agree. I mean, incredible build-up, as I've said, the lack of music, just the fleeting glimpses we can see of the Hurons in the trees. And to go from those isolated attacks with no way of knowing where they're going to come from next, and then the whooping starts. It feels very Zulu to me, like the first attacks in that film.
Yeah.
And then they break the lines because the British response is so clumsy.
Yeah.
And the Huron are just running riot. Magrat does exactly what he said he was going to do to Monroe, which is horrific. Everyone's getting slaughtered. But it is that one where you see one of them grab Cora, and then that cut to that slow-mo of Hawkeye just charging through everyone to rescue her, wiping out the Huron left, right and centre just to get her. It's so exciting. And then they're in the canoes, but they're still being pursued. But you've got Duncan still banging on about Hawkeye. I'll have you hanged.
I know.
Like, shut up.
Piss off, Duncan.
Bigger things going on here. But then they have to go over the rapids. I mean, this whole sequence, it's just one of the most purely thrilling scenes you'll ever see. I mean, we'll talk about the influence of the film later, but so many films of this nature owe a huge debt just to this one scene in particular. It's incredible stuff.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right, yeah.
I mean, from the wide shot to the canoes,
Yeah.
that is the equivalent of trying to get a taxi through the big market on a Saturday morning.
Westy with his flintlock.
Just trying to find the missus and get a fucking canoe over the time. So the Fort William Henry Massacre is something that did actually happen, but there are changes as well. The Hurons attacked the people at the back of the line, and the people at the front didn't actually know what was happening until they arrived at Fort Edward.
Yeah, so James Fenimore Cooper, he wrote his book, and it was about 50 years after the actual events.
Right.
And apparently he based his research on reports from the 1750s.
Right.
And they'd been written to, like, sensationalise what happened to stir up resentment against the French and the Hurons.
Right.
Right.
So, tell you what, I'm glad that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
Nipped that in the bud, didn't we?
Yeah. Much more civilised, yeah.
Definitely.
So, some specifics about what they changed. In the film, Magua gets his revenge on Monroe by cutting out his heart, as we've just seen. But in reality, Monroe didn't die at the massacre. He made it to Albany, but died 3 months later after an epileptic seizure.
That shot where Magua holds up his heart. Oh, absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's beating at the time, but it's like one step away from it.
It's not far off. There's that blood trickling down his arm, which is really cool.
It's nearly Templar Doom, but not quite.
It's nearly Temple. It doesn't catch fire.
No.
That's the only thing. Yeah. Num Shavai.
And the reason the Hurons attacked the British wasn't through revenge. It was because they were furious with the deal Montcalm had struck with the British. Because usually after a battle, the Huron would plunder things to take back to their villages, but Montcalm's seal meant they couldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah, so from what I read, that's how it started. The Huron were just trying to take things off the British, and when some objected, it got a bit out of hand, to say the least.
Right.
But, like, the estimated death rates are anywhere between 70 and 1,500, so no one really is certain kind of what happened, I don't think.
Okay.
It's a big jump.
That is...
Yeah, just a bit.
And most inaccurate of all is there is an unfortunate shot during the battle of a crew member holding a blue cap and screaming into a megaphone, and apparently that's Michael Waxman, the assistant director.
Right.
Crazy. Don't worry about the sun. Get this guy out of the way.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But also the Mohicans and the Monroes get away in Huron's canoes, like we said. Hayward follows them as the battle's still going on. Surely, that's desertion.
Yeah.
So he shouts at Hawkeye, I'll have you hanged.
Yeah.
Surely he's the one getting the noose. Must
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
And that's the middle act of The Last of the Mohicans. From the spectacular siege of Fort William Henry to the horrific massacre that follows it, man shows both sides of frontier conflict, and it's not over yet.
No.
Not by a long stretch.
The crew.
Michael Meticulous Mann was all over The Last of the Mohicans, as we've been talking about, and that included working with his wider crew, so we're going to be getting into some of those people now. Trevor Jones and Randy Edelman as composers are two of them, and Dante Spinotti as director of photography is another, but we're going to begin with the screenplay.
Yes.
So there are two credited screenwriters on The Last of the Mohicans, Michael Mann himself and Christopher Crowe. Mann had 3 previous screenwriting credits, Thief, The Keep and Manhunter, all of which he also directed. Christopher Crowe had writing credits on 5 features before this, which were The Last Chase, Nightmares, The Mean Season, Off Limits and Whispers in the Dark.
All those.
Right.
Which all have titles like episodes of The X-Files. So I'm going to watch them.
Yes, they do.
Was he just writing for the X-Files?
He was mostly known for his work in TV, though, which is how Mann knew him and why he brought him in here to help with the writing workload.
Right, okay.
So, 2 writers taking on a famously dense novel, Matt. How did they do with the screenplay?
It feels like the work of people who really understand the book, but also understand what they need to change to make it work on screen for a different audience.
Yeah.
How to translate it properly.
They could have got so lost with this.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, for example, what we said about Madeline Stowe being told, read it as a love story, not an action film.
Yeah.
Because they bring out those 2 elements really well in the script. It clarifies all the information an audience needs about the time period. You understand the British point of view, the French point of view, and the Native American point of view. But more than that, it makes you understand the different point of views from the different Native American communities. It doesn't just portray them as a homogenous mass. They've got their own perspective on these events. And it also balances that with a modern day perspective. We understand who our heroes are and why they appeal to us. but it doesn't underplay the fact that this is all taking place on land that's been stolen from its people. So there's a lot of perspectives the writing's got to make clear, perspectives that were from a very different era, and there's a balance not going on here between an epic action film and a love story, and I think the writing is very, very concise and crystal clear in what it wants to do.
Yeah, I love that overall concept, making it love story every bit as much as like action film. And it lends itself to that visually, just with the period. You see the sisters in the long dresses and the hats in the first act, and it's kind of reminiscent of like Jane Austen-style romance or something.
Yeah.
Just need Colin Firth to show up. But then, other side of the coin, there's hearts being cut out and people being burned at the stake. So just making that all work together, I think, is impressive. And what Mann and Crowe did really well, I think, was strip the novel down to like its bare bones. I mean, I've not read it, but by all accounts I've seen, the book it's a slog, apparently.
Yeah.
Sounds like James Fenimore Cooper's one of those authors who writes like he's being paid by the word a bit.
Yeah.
But buried in there is this great story of like survival and love and revenge, and that's what they focus on. So they've made smart changes. We'll talk about what some of them were shortly, but they shifted the narrative a bit to focus on different characters. They changed the relationships between some characters. Munro dying in the massacre, like we said. So they streamline it, make it more personal, and all of it works. I think the dialogue's handled really well too. It feels like period appropriate, but without being too stagey.
Yeah.
I mean, stay alive, no matter what occurs, I will find you. That's theatrical as hell, obviously, but it works in that moment.
Oh, totally.
So, great setting, great story. Only thing I would say is I'm not sure the writing takes full advantage of it in some ways. I think how it looks, like the locations, the design work, does quite a lot of heavy lifting. I think there's some storylines that are given short shrift, to say the least, which I think has an impact towards the end, so I'll talk about it then. But in terms of the plot points, it is just a bloody good story, set in a fascinating time and place, and that is executed really well and carries us through it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling this screenplay would have been just as substantial as the novel. I think when they'd finished it, this would have been about a 400-pager.
It could be, easy, yeah.
I would imagine it was. And there would have been a lot of themes running through it. I know the amount of times that he had to recut this, the amount of times that they went over time, over the budget. I think Mann's put everything into this, and Crowe's put everything into this as a screenplay. But for me, looking at the finished film and then looking at what the screenplay could have been, I think there's a lot missing from the finished film. There's a lot of elements here where Mann just expects you to understand the characters. There's no real backstory. There's just a little bit touched here and there.
Yeah.
He expects you to understand the period, understand what happens, understand the convictions, understand the French versus the English, and then, you know, the Native Americans and how they reacted to everything. He kind of expects you to understand what's happening in it, and then places a kind of an action love story in the middle of that. You can tell that from the opening blurb of, like, you know, three men are running through the forest, basically, come and have a look. You know, it's kind of where it starts. And I think a lot of this is visual. A lot of it is down to Spinotti, and it's down to Mann's style that he brings to the film, and I think that's the whole point of the screenplay. I think there would have been loads in there, but again, it felt like a work in progress. I don't feel like this was written and they're going to have to stick to it like a Coen Brothers script. We're going to have to stick to this to the letter. I think there was room to move things around, but a lot of this, I think I would love to read this screenplay in its original format, because I think there would be a lot in here that has been left out of the finished film.
For sure. The novel was massive, apparently, so yeah, there would have had to be, I think.
Yeah.
It would have been a huge screenplay.
And then in terms of his research, Mann said that he read the book and took the major plot points and characters from it, but was more influenced by the 1936 film by George B. Seitz. And he said he wanted to know what life was really like in Albany, New York in 1750 when the film was set. And he came across the diary of Louis-Antoine de Bougainville, who was a French writer, and he had served at the Fort William Henry siege and massacre, and he took a lot from that to create the world and societies we see.
Right.
Yeah, he said that book could have been written like 3 weeks ago. It was all for the sarcasm and like modern wit and pretty similar to how things are now.
Okay.
But he was more interested in the differences, so lent into that.
Right.
Lacrosse being one of them, presumably.
Yeah.
And so in the scene where we talked about the French and British discussing terms, the letter from General Webb to Colonel Munro is read out by a French officer called Capitaine de Bougainville, a reference to Louis-Antoine de Bougainville.
Nice reference, that.
Yeah.
Apparently those diaries focus quite a bit on American colonial families who were living like all out alone on the frontiers, and that's where the idea of the Camerons came from.
Right.
So it all adds kind of real world weight, I think.
Yeah.
And Mann was also influenced by the writings of Francis Parkman, and he was a Harvard historian who in the 1860s wrote about the French and Indian War, and he actually walked the path to Fort William Henry.
Wow.
He met people who were in their 70s who had been told stories by their own parents and grandparents, so therefore first-hand accounts of the war. And he took a lot from that about the relationship between the French and Indians being tense and having to be tightly managed by the French.
And Francis Parkman, there's an award named after him called the Francis Parkman Prize, which is awarded to the best book in American history every year.
All right.
So, credible source for Mann, it seems like.
Yep.
Mann's research included diving into the cultures of Native American tribes and not just the Mohicans. It included elements from the Iroquois as well. He said they had a free love kind of environment. This is where he got the idea for the "I'm looking at you, miss" sequence.
Free love.
Free love.
The 1750s was swinging, apparently.
Free love on the Free Love Freeway.
Hendrix in there.
Imagine.
On the doobies.
And as we mentioned, Mann made quite a lot of changes from the novel by Cooper, and some of these changes are, in the novel, it's Uncas, not Hawkeye, who has the relationship with Cora, but it's very subtle. Mann switched this to Hawkeye, presumably as he thought Western audiences might identify more with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And hence the white saviour criticisms, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite a lot of big changes from the page to screen, wasn't there?
Yeah. And Hawkeye was inspired by a real American frontiersman, Daniel Boone, which is why his real name is Nathaniel. He's called Nathaniel Bumppo in the book, and Mann changed that to Nathaniel Poe for the film.
Yeah, he said that he thought Natty Bumpo, which is what they call him in the book, would have got laughs from the audience, so he changed it.
Definitely would have.
Can't do that so easily.
There he comes, Natty Bumbo.
And at the end of the film, Sachem, the tribe leader, refers to Cora as the dark child of Monroe, and this is because in the book, Cora was the daughter of Monroe and a black woman, so was therefore mixed race.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it works because Madeline Stowe was like a brunette,
Yeah.
but not quite the same thing, is it?
No. Not really, no.
And in the book, it's not Hawkeye who's in love with Cora, it's Magua.
Right?
That would be weird based on what we get here.
That's really weird.
Imagine his lingering looks.
Oh, God, no.
The book sounds totally different to this. Like.
Yeah.
And in the book, Hayward is an American colonist who joined the British Army, and he, Monroe and Alice all survive until the end of the story, whereas they all die in the film. And in the book, Cora is actually killed, though.
Yeah, in the book, Big Dunk has a thing with Alice, and they end up together.
Right.
So that's where he was going wrong, yeah. He went for the wrong sister.
Yep.
Okay.
For their work on adapting The Last of the Mohicans, Michael Mann and Christopher Crowe weren't nominated for any screenplay awards, but for us, in taking what's been critiqued as a not great novel in some ways and turning it into a lean, well-researched narrative, some impressive screenwriting here.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, really good. Like I said, I'd love to read the actual first draft of it. I think it'll be very, very interesting.
It would. We're diving deep into the music now, and the composers on The Last of the Mohicans were Trevor Jones and Randy Edelman. Jones had written for 22 films before this, including The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Mississippi Burning, and Arachnophobia.
Nice. Did he do Dance Magic Dance? Or was that just Bowie?
Edelman had 16 feature credits, including Twins, Ghostbusters 2, Kindergarten Cop, My Cousin Vinny, and Beethoven.
Right.
Nice.
So, an eclectic filmography to this point, Matt.
Uh-huh.
How did Trevor Jones and Randy Edelman do with the music?
I mean, none of those films give you any clue as to how good this is going to sound.
No.
You would think, what? Are you sure it's definitely those guys?
Imagine this in Beethoven.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, this is just wonderful. It's majestic, it's emotional, it's exciting, it's romantic, it sweeps you along with the visuals. It enriches every action scene, every theme for every character. Just sounds correct. Like, I'll go back to what I said about the top, this film being underappreciated. I think that's true of every element. But definitely the score, I don't think it gets the kudos that James Horner gets for Braveheart, for example.
Yeah.
But it should, because it's just so packed. And as soon as you hear this, you'll be humming it for days afterwards. You know, scenes like The Promontory, which we'll talk about. And like, you ever done the dishes and had this on in the background? It just makes it epic. Yeah. You'll get like the housework done so quickly just listening to this.
Just smashing them. I'll buy new ones. Fucking
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just gets you really pumped up for it. I just think it's incredible stuff. And I tell you who else loves this, Justin Hurwitz, because I think his soundtrack for First Man takes a lot from this.
Right.
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to the piece that does the moon landing, that's really, really influenced by this. But yeah, love it.
Yeah, I think when you talk to anyone about The Last of the Mohicans, one of the first things that comes up is the music.
Yeah.
Mostly that main theme. But it's not just that. We hear music like almost constantly, and it's always helping with the tone and the world building. There's this blend of like 18th century period music and almost modern Celtic music, it seems like. I mean, why Scottish folk music's playing over colonial America, I'm not sure, but it captures that sense of like romanticism that we get all the way through. In fact, I think the music is a key part of that. But yeah, it is the main title theme that people usually talk about. And for good reason, it's absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Right from the start, the score builds with that backstory titles that we talked about. And then when it kicks in, we get the logo, The Last of the Mohicans, huge on the screen. It's crazy. But what I love is how, kind of following the narrative structure, there's two main themes, the big action one and the softer romance one. And what works really well is that they're both based off the same piece of music. The romantic piece is the melody, and the action piece is like the harmony.
Yeah.
So in a film that's part love story, part action epic, if you had two very distinct themes, it might be a bit divisive maybe, but that link, I think, is one of the things that helps bring everything together.
Yeah.
And when the music does come together, like in the climax we're going to talk about, when we hear the romance theme and the action theme at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, get out. Who's not liking that?
Forget about it. Like the first time I heard the Beatles. Because the love and the action are harmony together, aren't they? It's like the upper third.
Yeah, they are.
It sits perfectly well.
Yeah.
I mean, the music is the film, isn't it, for me?
Yeah.
It is so important. It's almost up there with like Star Wars and how it turns it into this absolute epic, because the shots are great.
Yeah.
But to have the melody go the same speed as the camera pan, when they're running and you have the and it's the same beat as the steps, it just integrates so well into the whole tapestry of the film. But this is so noticeable as well as doing that. Like, it really stands up as like a spotlight on the music. You know you're listening to it.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it's not taking you out of the film. This is two separate things, like them visuals and that music. But the way that they're layered and the way that they're put on top of each other, it's two different flavours, but they work so well when you get through them and they just melt together.
Yeah.
I can't even think of half of these sequences without that music.
Yeah.
Like, this just picks it up and just puts it in the spotlight. It doesn't just whisper, this is what you're watching. It screams like, this is romantic as fuck.
Yeah.
Cry. I mean, if you're watching this and all you're watching is words, like you said, the main titles comes up, it fills the screen and you get blah, da, 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 da. If you don't like that, just turn it off. Because that's what you're in for the next 2 hours.
You really are.
That is, it's unabashedly brilliantly done, and it's so on the nose that I want to get punched in the face over and over and over again. I love it. I really love it.
It is on the nose. The romance is on the nose.
Of course it is.
But it all kind of works.
But it's that on the nose that I want it to be. I want to be like head-butted by it. The music really, really, really reinforces that.
Oh, it absolutely does.
And Mann said he hired Trevor Jones to write the score because of his reputation for writing epic sweeping scores on films like Excalibur and The Dark Crystal. But the main theme actually came from Mann's wife, Summer. They were struggling to come up with a melody for the main theme, and Summer told Mann to listen to The Gale, which is a modern Scottish folk piece of music written by Dougie MacLean in 1990. Mann listened to it, loved it, had the studio license it, and then gave it to Trevor Jones to adapt for the film.
Yes, that's The Gale, Gael, if anyone wants to listen to it.
Yeah.
It is both the main theme from the film, basically. And the guy playing the fiddle on there, the main melody for the love theme, that's Alistair Fraser, like a renowned Scottish musician.
Right.
I mean, you pay for the best, you kind of get the best, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
When the film's release was moved from summer 1992 to September, Mann realised he needed some new pieces of music written for the score. Trevor Jones had other commitments by then, so that's when Randy Edelman came in. He had a reputation for working very, very quickly, so was hired to complete what Mann needed.
Yeah, so they didn't actually work together, Jones and Edelman wrote some of the more restrained pieces, like Cora, Parley, were written by him.
Right.
Oh, and he wrote The Courier, the piece for the sniper sequence we talked about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is good as well.
Yeah, that's great. The worst job in colonial America, the courier.
It really is.
Horrible.
Terrifying.
Yeah. And there's also a piece of music not composed by Trevor Jones or Randy Edelman that plays over the montage towards the end when the Mohicans are tracking Hugh on to rescue Cora and Alice. That song is called I Will Find You and was written and recorded for the film by a contemporary Irish folk group called Clannad.
Nice.
Yeah, how good's it?
Yeah.
Like Clannad, mate.
Yeah, it's clearly a more modern piece, but that kind of
Yeah.
ethereal pipe and percussion sound to it works great.
Yeah.
And again, there's a TV connection. Clannad were known for writing the theme from Harry's Game and also the main theme to Robin of Sherwood from the 80s.
Ah, yes, that's right. That's very ethereal, yeah.
Robin, that one.
Yeah.
That one, yep. I've just went straight back when you did that. It reminds me of, May It Be, again, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, totally.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, was that Enya?
That was Enya, yeah.
Well, there you go. She was in Clannad, wasn't she?
She was?
Yeah.
There we go, you see. We're putting it all together.
Yeah. Guess what episode's coming up soon, everyone?
There's been a few references here, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's the one on Clannad.
For their work on The Last of the Mohicans, Trevor Jones and Randy Edelman received no Oscar nominations for the score. The winner that year was Alan Menken for Disney's Aladdin.
Right.
Was it because Trevor Jones was brought in later, though? That was the reason why they weren't nominated for an Oscar.
Trevor Jones was the one in first, and Randy Edelman came in after.
I think that's why it was kind of disqualified, because it needs to be one concise piece by one composer, I think. Because it definitely would have been up there for a nomination this year.
Oh, yeah, it would have been a contender.
Yeah, surely.
Chris Jenkins, Doug Hemphill, Mark Smith and Simon Kay, they did win an Oscar for Best Sound, though.
Right.
And the sound design's pretty great.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But all in all, music and sound design, some great sounds in Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
A first-time collaboration with Mann on the writing and mostly on the music, but not on the cinematography.
No.
The director of photography was Dante Spinotti, who'd shot 25 films before this and was working with Mann for the second time after Manhunter.
Yeah.
Shooting firefights on the frontier this time, Westy.
Sure.
So, what are your thoughts on Dante's Inferno?
It's a beautiful thing. I'll warm my hands on it. It's just great. It's really, really accomplished work. And Dante Spinotti was Michael Mann's go-to. He did Heat as well. That's, forget about it. But even Manhunter, it has these stylistic flourishes where I feel like Spinotti lights, not with light, but with colour. It's the colour of light or the colour of the atmosphere that he uses to connect with the viewer and that emotion. So I've mentioned the fort. That's the warm orange, but he goes for these amazing blues of the landscape. They've got that real contrast between, the blue and the orange kind of work together and the harmonious. And like was said with the love story and the action, that's a harmony. And I think the blues and the reds in this film are incredibly, incredibly powerful, and it works really, really well. That's just one element of it, though. He really loves saturation and he really loves colour, and it really works, because this should be quite desaturated. It should be quite dour for the natural light that's being used a lot of the time, but it really, really works. But what he also does really well is how to tell a story with the camera, and Michael Mann knows that. And I'll just give you a little bit of an example about the two relationships that are in the film. So you've got Cora and Duncan. So when they meet, everything's telephoto, everything's on a long lens.
Yeah.
The camera's away from them. There's always distance. Look at them when they're sat in the field and they've got the table. They're apart from each other.
Yeah.
Even later on, they're always separated by a telephoto. When you first meet Hawkeye and the family's being killed at the farm, that's shot in a telephoto when they disagree. As they get closer, the lens gets shorter. So their chemistry and their connection gets closer together.
Right.
So they keep shooting on shorter lenses and it goes shorter and shorter and shorter. And then I'll cut straight to the final shot when they embrace on that mountaintop. That's a wide angle lens. So he's bringing in the whole environment, and they're in the middle of that environment together as one. And the environment has surrounded them, so they're now complete as a couple.
Beautiful.
So he's gone from a long lens to a shorter lens. And their relationship is basically built on the focal length, and how close they get is then reflected in the camera movements and in the camera and the lens choices.
Amazing.
So Dante Spinotti and cinematography and camera work and lens choices, this just shows how important that is to tell a story. And that's just one little bit of it.
Yeah.
That's a really good example in this film, though, of how to do it properly.
Amazing.
Beautiful. And yeah, big fan of the cinematography here as well. As I said about everything else, the challenge is kind of covering two genres at the same time in action and love story, and having to blend it all together into one cohesive piece of work. And Spinotti does that. I think he leans quite heavily on some classic techniques. This reminds me of your old Hollywood action and adventure movies going back to the 40s and 50s, with huge wide establishing shots of misty forests or sweeping landscapes of the mountainsides, and then lots of very intimate close-ups for character moments. Very different tones and feels in those scenes, but the cinematography always feels very much of a piece, I think. I think it's great how natural it all looks, with minimal lighting, it seems like, to maintain all the authenticity, and that works. The woodland scenes always pull me in. The way the sunlight peeks through the trees.
Yeah.
The mud and the rain, you feel like you can touch it. And there was some real dedication. I know that Spinotti and his crew had to hike their equipment into the forests and the mountains for 45 minutes at the start of every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's classic stuff. And I've seen people compare the visuals to David Lean, and I see why.
Yeah.
But the filmmaker reminds me of most is probably John Ford. Natural settings, energetic camera moves, intimate and epic at the same time.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, if you're tapping into classic era Hollywood and you pull it off, you're probably going to get something pretty special.
Yeah.
And I think Spadoni gives us that here.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, obviously, the location shooting itself is incredible, but all the same, that's not enough. I mean, I could put a camera on a tripod and point it at some mountains, and I'm not going to make it look like that's the Mohicans. So, for me, it's all the logistics that Spinotti has to work with here. It doesn't look an easy place to put a camera, but Spinotti makes it look easy.
No.
And he moves it as well. It's not stationary. The way that he gets that camera going at pace over and across this rugged landscape, through the forest, across water, all the potential problems of natural light ebbing and flowing, of clouds, of changeable weather, of finding somewhere to put the camera and put the lighting setup in places where you think there's barely any room for the actors, let alone a camera rig, surely, like up the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
Like, say, they're up and down, they're crossing rivers, they're running through thick forests, and Spinotti keeps up, and he makes it look easy, which is the thing that, like, blows my mind about this. I mean, I would describe the cinematography in this as invisible, because it doesn't feel like cinematography, it just feels like real life that he's captured, and that is just the highest compliment I could give it.
Yeah, I mean, a few years later, if you look at the woodland shots or the jungle shots, I guess, in Thin Red Line, they're pretty close. Yeah, he's kind of set the benchmark.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mann and Spinotti agreed that a subdued monochromatic look for the film would work best to make it look more authentic. The lighting came from period-accurate sources, wherever possible would light scenes by sunlight, or torchlight if they could make it work. But again, there's colour added to that as well, definitely.
Some clever lighting as well, yeah. I like the lighting in the waterfall scene that we'll talk about, because they couldn't film under actual waterfalls, obviously. So that kind of pounding water lighting effect was done by bouncing light from the lamps onto these huge reflective screens and then shaking the screens to create the effect of running water.
Yeah.
I never even questioned it. Just looks great.
Definitely.
That looks fantastic.
And Spinotti said he was inspired by famous landscape painters. Thomas Cole and Albert Bierstadt were 19th century American painters who were both part of the Hudson River School. And that was an art movement known for its landscape painters who focus on the beauty of the American wilderness, especially the Hudson River Valley.
Yeah, if you look at their work, those painters, the influence is pretty obvious.
Yeah, it is.
The framing of stuff, the colour palette as well.
It's all very wide, isn't it? The people are tiny in the frame, like the start of the massacre shot or the bridge shot.
Exactly, yeah. There's shots here that are like a Thomas Cole painting come to life. That shot at the start of the massacre is one of them.
Yeah.
Before we finish on Dante Spinotti and the cinematography, we have another ATRM Patreon question.
Okay.
This time from Jacob Perry.
Hello, Jacob.
Hello, Jacob.
So Jacob says, Mann and Spinotti shot this film in upstate New York and the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. Both of those regions have a rich indigenous history for Native Americans, which lends the film a level of authenticity. What are some of your favourite movies where the shooting location has offered the same effect to the film?
Right.
And then Jacob says, thanks again for the best movie pod in the business.
Oh, it's very nice.
Very kind of him.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jacob. And that's a great, long question. Jacob's ladder, that question.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Westy? Great location shooting in a film?
I mean, this right up my street, to be honest, but I've tried to think of ones that really add a flavour, and without the location, it just really, really wouldn't work. So I didn't want the location to necessarily be a character, but I wanted the location to really affect the visual of the film. So the first one I'll always go to is Days of Heaven, which I think shows like the American Midwest of Texas is just like, without that setting, without that lighting, you know, it just wouldn't work at all. Fargo.
Oh, yeah.
I think you need that dark cold, that Minnesota, that snow, you can feel it. That's, you know, it really, really adds to the whole vision. There's The Proposition, which I think shows the Australian outback.
Oh, yeah.
Before anyone had been there, better than anything else I've seen, to be honest. I think it's just really, really powerfully done.
Your favourite Christmas film, that one, Westy, is it?
It's up there, yeah. It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with that, no. Yeah, all of them films really work for me. I could be here for hours, so I'll just rein it in a little bit. But yeah, they are some main ones for me.
Nice. For me, have you seen The New World by Terrence Malick?
Oh, yeah.
Of course I have, yeah.
Well, of course you have, Westy. I mean, not one of his best, probably.
No.
But it's about the Jamestown, Virginia settlement in America, and was actually shot in Virginia, where the settlement was.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing that, watching it, and it looks like it as well, it gives it this authenticity, but it also feels kind of weird and ghostly.
Yeah.
And The Revenant 2, Inarito shooting in the actual wilderness where the real Hugh Glass survived.
Yeah.
Authentic and brutal. It makes surviving on the frontier look like the hell I'm sure it was. And I think an obvious one, Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
Lean filming, not actually in like the Arabian Peninsula, but in actual deserts. When it's done well, I think the landscape can become like a character, like we talk about.
Yeah.
And I think Mann pulls that off here as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like you two fellas, my head automatically goes to Terrence Malick, and I'd say The Thin Red Line. The shooting in that, the heat, just that sense of those soldiers in such a foreign land that they can't make sense of. And I think the location shooting really emphasises that. One film I've already mentioned, but again, I would mention The Search, is just that Monument Valley location for John Ford. Is incredible. And then at the other end of the scale, I'd say The French Connection. You can smell that film. Yeah. You feel how cold and miserable it is there. So yeah, French Connection as well, I think, for New York.
Yeah.
I can't believe none of us have mentioned New Zealand, Lord of the Rings.
Well, that's coming up.
Saving it, yeah.
Saving it, yeah, fair enough.
I went to Australia instead with the proposition. Just over the water.
No Oscars for Dante Spinotti for his work on The Last of the Mohicans. Winner of Best Cinematography that year was Philippe Rousselot for A River Runs Through It.
Right.
Still, for us, this is a great example of some beautiful location cinematography.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's really up there for me.
And we're through the crew section on The Last of the Mohicans, from Michael Mann and Christopher Crowe stripping the novel to its essentials, Trevor Jones and Randy Edelman creating one of the 90s most epic scores, and Dante Spinotti painting the frontier in Torchlight. Add in the others we've mentioned, and you've got a crew working very much together to bring Michael Mann's vision to the screen.
Very much.
Everyone working in harmony, you might say.
You might.
The end.
The final act of The Last of the Mohicans sees Mann stripping everything down even more to its essentials. We're going to talk about the climactic battle on the mountainside, but first, it's the aftermath of the massacre and a journey into Huron territory.
Yep.
It is.
So, following the massacre at Fort William Henry, the Hurons track our heroes through the wilderness. It all leads to a cave behind a waterfall where Magua gets his hands on Cora and Alice, before arriving at the Huron village where some character fates are decided.
Yeah.
Enemy territory, Matt. How does this all play out?
I mean, don't go chasing waterfalls, right? Just stick to those rivers and lakes I used to. One for the TLC fans.
Nearly as good as Westy's Who Run, or Who Run that you just did.
I think, though, this is maybe the scene everyone remembers the most because it's absolutely massive. I mean, and this is where I want to talk about how good the sound design is, which we've mentioned won the Oscar. Because the boom of that water.
Yeah, it's great.
Which makes everyone have to shout their lines, which then in turn emphasises the emotion of the performances, is incredible.
Yeah.
The tension is still unrelenting because they've bought themselves a couple of minutes, but they've also discovered all the gunpowder is now soaked and useless. But Magua is still on the tail, so Hawkeye has to leave them. Like, everything about this just resonates so well. I think there's a good bit of foreshadowing where Alice seems to be in a trance and nearly falls, but is saved by Uncas, and I think that's the first clue that mentally she's just broken now by what she's seen and been through, which obviously leads to her tragic ending, which we'll talk about. But it's those visuals of Hawkeye and Cora framed against the backdrop of that water thundering down. Like, that might be the most romantic visual I think I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And then the way that Mann just punches into those close-ups of them.
Yeah.
It works so well. And the dialogue, which I think we said could be cheesy, but, you know, you stay alive. I will find you.
It's great.
I don't think I've ever been more convinced by any character saying they're going to do something than I am here.
I believe him. He will find you.
Oh, definitely.
Are you not more convinced when Ethan Hunt does it in Mission Impossible Woo? Stay alive! I'm not going to lose you! And then jumps out the window. Total rip-off.
And then just when you think he can't get any more convincing, he jumps through that waterfall. And we talked about The Fugitive a couple of episodes ago. I mean, this puts The Fugitive in the absolute shade with that similar scene.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, the cave behind the waterfall. It's a beautiful setting for a scene. The water thundering down as a backdrop, everyone's soaking wet, and that shot of the Hurons approaching where we can just see their torches on the way through the tunnels.
Yeah.
Great moment, that. So it's a great place and a great way for the sisters to finally get caught. Only thing for me, I'm not sure I totally buy Hawkeye's reason for leaving Cora behind.
Right.
I mean, I understand the logic. They've got no gunpowder, they're outnumbered, they'll die if they fight. Fine. Just take the women with you, surely. Through the magic waterfall, take your chances. I mean, not your typical Hollywood heroics, but maybe that's the point, to be fair. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you're not in charge if we're in that situation.
But the moment that Cora and Hawkeye say goodbye to each other is massive. Stay alive, I will find you. That's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Dale Lewis sells the hell out of it. And Stowe's great as well because she has to do it mostly through reactions, not dialogue. And her lingering looks to Hawkeye while also getting across that she's pretty terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been like Vivien Leigh in the 40s or something.
Yeah.
Looks brilliant. Don't just leave the girls, but some great acting in there.
Yeah, but don't take them with you to sudden death. Like, they can't swim in them dresses for a start.
He's just left them to near certain death.
He actually says, if they don't kill you.
Exactly.
It just is what it is. You know when he jumps out and you see a shot of him going down, I just think, that waterfall doesn't stand a chance.
No, it doesn't, yeah. So the exterior waterfall scenes, they were filmed at Hooker Falls and Bridal Veil Falls, but the cave was a set built in a warehouse in North Carolina, and this was the only interior set built for the film.
Wowza.
And they used recycled river water to create the fallen water in front of the cave, and it was the last sequence shot during production.
Makes sense. I mean, taking all that equipment behind a waterfall would be asking for trouble, surely.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they enhanced the shots of the real waterfalls with digital effects as well to make them look even more thunderous.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wouldn't have had the same effect if it was just trickling over the edge,
No.
to be fair.
Imagine that. Stay alive. Bloop. The original novel does have a scene behind a waterfall as well, which is where Mann got the idea. Apparently in the 1820s, James Fenimore Cooper took some English aristocrats on a trip around New York. They went to a waterfall cave called Glens Falls, and one of the group said, this would be a great setting for a romance novel.
He was right.
He was right. Not the whole novel, though, surely. No. Just shout
No.
I think I love you. That'll be nice.
Well, that person was Lord Edward Stanley, future British Prime Minister, no less.
All right, okay.
Oh, right.
I think politicians tend to inspire Hollywood in slightly different ways nowadays.
I think they do, yeah.
And there's a moment under the waterfall where we see Uncas and Alice together, the idea being that they've got their own relationship. And there was supposed to be more made of that as well, with the love scene written between them. But Jodie May, who plays Alice, she was only 17 at the time, and her mother was on set and completely vetoed the scene.
Yeah, there's another deleted scene as well where Uncas braids Alice's hair.
Right.
I mean, the love scene, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But they could have kept the other one, maybe.
Yeah, that would have worked.
Because I think the Uncas and Alice relationship is definitely underserved in the story.
Oh, 100%. So they don't kill them, thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yep, the tip of the Huron village. So, you know, everything pays off. Hawkeye knows what's going on. But this is genuinely terrifying when Nathaniel walks in there. You know, you can feel this animosity. You don't feel like there's an unnecessary hatred. You feel like this is really, really historical hatred.
Yeah.
Like they've got a reason to hate these people. This is the reality of the situation. And I honestly find that this sequence, now I'm not saying it's better or more entertaining, but I find it more engaging than some of the earlier action sequences.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
I'm drawn into it.
Oh, yeah.
It's got an incredible weight to it. And it shows Magua has lost his way. His heart is twisted, and that's what is being said. The Sachem's brought in, who's the chief of the Huron, who sits down, listens to everything. And I'll be honest with you, I think he's pretty accommodating
He is
to everyone's wishes. He's kind of like, right, okay, you're pissed off, but you're in love with her, so, well, I'll burn her, she can go. He can go back to the English, and how's about that? Everyone's down with that?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no. He's like, oh, for fuck's sake, just take me. Then he's like, yeah, whatever, I'm old. There's that great twist as well, was that the sacrifice of Hawkeye, where he's like, take me. And you as an audience, never going to happen in a million years.
No.
And then when Duncan says, British officer, take me, you're like, yes, that'll do.
Yeah.
Do that. But Duncan,
Oh,
when he's getting taken away, I mean, it is a heartbreaker, but he can't help it, can he?
No.
He's like, well, did you tell him? He's like, no, I said take me. And then he says, what did you say, my compliments?
my compliments to you, sir.
Compliments to you, sir. He's getting taken away. It's like, oh, God, all right. It is fantastic. And then that music kicks in, and you're like, oh, yes, right. And we are just in from that moment. The minute that music starts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of stand up out my chair, lean forward a little bit, and I'm kind of just at the edge of my seat, and I'm leaning forward, and I'm going, this is the end of Last of the Mohicans. I know for a fact I'm going to be reminded of this moment 5 more times.
Oh, yeah. It's great when Hawkeye comes in and Dunk's translating for him. Hawkeye's trying to be a diplomat, but he's clearly more comfortable with action, so that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Big Dunk going for me. I mean, it's a bit of a classic trope. The guy who's been a bastard all the way through turns out to be honourable after all.
Yeah.
He's like Gorman in Aliens.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Cora should have said, you always were an asshole, Big Dunk.
And he's like,
I mean, when it's done well, it's always good, and I like it here.
Yeah.
I would say I find the pacing a little odd. We spend ages at Fort William Henry, and then the final act is all these huge moments.
Yeah.
Feels a little bit crammed in. We go from the waterfall straight to the village, straight to the climactic showdown. I mean,
Yeah.
let it breathe a little bit, maybe. But the first time I saw this film, the image in the moment that stayed with me afterwards was Hawkeye's mercy killing of Big Dunk being burned at the stake. It's massive. Absolutely massive.
it's huge.
But in the original script, when Hawkeye shoots Duncan, he fired immediately. And the historical advisor on set was Mark Baker, and he said that Hawkeye should take careful aim when firing, saying it was more realistic to fire in that kind of rifle.
Oh, nice. I mean, that shot itself, when he kind of lifts that rifle up, I mean, look at that as a composition.
Yeah.
It's just done in one frame. It's the shot on a wider lens, so Cora's in there. She's in the kind of in the background. An incredible shot on Hawkeye as he's just lining up the shot. She turns around just as he fires. You can't just see the final moment because this is riddled with guilt. It's brilliantly done.
It is.
But he just takes his time, like Matt said there. He just takes his time to get the shot right. And I'm pretty sure, I've watched it a couple of times, but I don't know if it's a chest shot, I don't know if it's a head shot. I'm just going to have to pause it and kind of zoom in and see if I can do it on the 4K if there's one.
Well, he's a pretty good shot, and he's called Hawkeye for a reason.
He is called Hawkeye, and he's been sniping from a fort using a massive long musket, which I think is pretty impossible. Anything's possible, to be honest. He's probably shot him back to life. And apparently it would have been more accurate to have this meeting take place in a longhouse, but Mann decided to have an exterior set built instead. It was created just south of Lake James, where they were filming, and the set remained there as a tourist attraction for years afterwards. They even installed an elevator to take tourists up to the cliff trail where the climax takes place. Love to go there.
Oh, I'd be going on that, for sure.
ATRM Christmas weekend away.
Another one.
Just me sliding off a cliff mortal.
And the Sachem is played by Mike Phillips, who was a respected Mohawk leader who occasionally acted in TV projects before this. But the characters in the scene are all speaking different languages. Magua is speaking Cherokee, which is Wes Studi's native language, while Phillips is speaking Mohawk and some French.
Absolute chaos. It's great, though. The authenticity is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I think Mike Phillips is really good as the Sachem as well.
Oh, he's wonderful, yeah.
Got a real dignity, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the setup for our climax, with the waterfall, Duncan's redemption, and Magua taking Alice while Cora goes free. But the chase isn't over yet, is it?
It's not.
No.
The climax of The Last of the Mohicans is frenetic, to say the least. Magua and his warriors head to their settlement with Alice, pursued by Hawkeye, Cora, Chingachgook and Uncas. What follows is an epic final confrontation on the mountain.
Yep.
Magua kills Uncas, Alice takes her own life, and Chingachgook kills Magua.
Yeah.
The conclusion is here, Matt. Mm-hmm. How does it all work for you?
I mean, it's just an absolute bloodbath.
It really is. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. We're done. Bloodbath. That's all you need to know by the end of Last of the Mohicans. I mean, Uncas thrown himself into Magua's party like an absolute hero, but then he's out of there.
Yeah.
I think after everything Alice has seen, and she has no idea that there's a rescue party just around the corner, and I think she's suffering PTSD at this point, so completely by her decision to throw herself off the ridge rather than submit to Magua, which is an absolute heartbreaker. But it's the fury that this sets off in Hawkeye and Chingachgook. Like Hawkeye charging up that mountain, taking out Hurons all over the place, firing 2 rifles at the same time. Cinema has peaked at this scene by this point. Like, it's not going to get better than that. Yeah. But I love how it upends expectations, because you would think, well, the final battle's obviously going to be between Hawkeye and Magua. And even when Chingachgook gets to Magua first, you think, oh, he's going to get killed, and it'll be all down to Hawkeye to avenge his family, but it's not. It's Chingachgook who gets to revenge his son, and I think that works so well. Just like the fact that it doesn't become a big drawn-out battle between them, like you might expect. I mean, when they confront each other, Magua is so cocky that he's got this swagger about him. He thinks he's invincible, but no, he doesn't lay a finger on Chingachgook. He just takes him out, no problem. And it's so satisfying how he outclasses him so easily. And all this is going on to that piece of music.
Yeah.
Like I say, cinema peaked at this point.
There's a great shot that takes us from the village into the climax. It's another epic wide shot where we see the mountains, a bit like in the opening.
Yeah.
And it pans across the range. It almost looks like it could be stock photography or something.
Yeah.
But then ends with the Huron coming into frame on the left.
Yeah, yeah.
Incredible establishing shot.
Yeah.
And it's an outstanding climax, in my eyes. I love how the score is used. It starts to play at the village when the Huron let Cora go, and is just like relentlessly driving away all the way through. Mm-hmm. Between Duncan giving himself up and Magua being killed, it's about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Loads happens. Yeah. Hawkeye kills Duncan, Magua kills Uncas, Alice leaps to her death, and then Chingachgook kills Magua. And there's not a word of dialogue.
No.
Just those strings going round and round. It's so weird, but so great. It's also a little confusing. When Uncas and Alice go off the cliff, it cuts the reaction shots of Chingachgook and then Cora. But it's like, where are they? How can they see that from where they are? I don't really get the logistics of it. Mm-hmm. But the moment Alice goes, we get that close-up of her, and it's like she's looking into the camera.
Yeah.
It's genuinely upsetting. It's horrible. But, I mean, great filmmaking. Jodie May's best moment, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But altogether, it's brilliant. When your climax is 10 minutes with no dialogue, just music and just action, you know the man must trust his visual storytelling. And for me, his greatest ever sequence. I think it's that good.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this music should come in. It's like a rave.
The Matrix.
Like, bang, bang. I'm surprised it was like, this is early 90s. I'm surprised no one sampled this, just put a beat underneath it.
They probably did.
Probably did somewhere. If anyone can find it, just send us it on Patreon. I'd love that. It's my Friday night sorted. It's absolutely incredible. It's that shot of Chingachgook when he just comes out and he screams.
Yeah.
As he falls, you can just see the pain on his face and the fury that's going to happen, and just the nonchalantness of Magua just stabbing him in the throat and throwing him away as if he's nothing.
Yeah.
Awful, yeah.
That's pure Michael Mann. That doesn't really need to happen. I don't know if Alice, when she falls off, I don't know if that shot from the bottom where she's just fallen over the top of the camera kind of pulls me out slightly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's my only kind of gripe with it.
Slightly jarring, that bit, isn't it?
And that moment after Uncas has died and Alice is looking over, and like you said it there, John, you touched on it, the Magua drops the knife. When she looks back to the camera and that light kicks and you just get that catch light in her eye, that's one of my most favourite frames, I think, in any film.
Wow.
It's beautiful because you've got the separation of the background, you've got her hair in exactly the right place, you've got the rain coming down in front of it, which accentuates her emotion and her tears, and her face is perfect. She just looks beautiful and empty and gone, and I think it's just an incredible shot.
It's a sensational close-up, isn't it? Because there's like a whole story going on in that one shot.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And he cuts to a knife being lowered in between them two shots.
Right.
And there's just that, come here, come this way.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so much going on, like, in our eyes. When they got that shot and she looked in the camera, Michael Mann would have just went, I'm not doing that 20 times. Fuck that. Because the way that rain's coming down, that separation, the light and everything is just perfect. Our eyes are just perfect. I mean, I would have that framed in my house if it wasn't weird. People are like, do you know her? I was like, no, not really.
Not really. A little bit.
I've seen the film that many times, I feel like I know her. That's Alice. And then you get, Hawkeye 2 guns coming out of there.
Ah, great.
They're ablazing. And it's just Chingachgook just slicing through them as if they're children. And he's just furious. And that music is just... And he's just like, right, and I'm having you. I don't care. I am absolutely having you. And you know it. I think they could have shot him and he would just keep going.
Yeah.
He's not stopping until Magua's dead, no matter what happens to him. And then you get that amazing moment where he just stops and just rolls underneath.
Yeah, great.
Bang, it's in the back.
Yeah.
Bang, he breaks his arm. The thing that takes me out a little bit, them hits aren't hard enough. They're not powerful enough. I want it to be fucking bang. I wanted to just be furious. Fucking power. It's the fury to wipe the seed from the earth is what Magua wanted to do. That's his gone now. He can't have that back. His stun's gone. And what you both haven't touched on, which I am amazed at, is that 2 shot where Magua knows he's beaten.
Oh, it's incredible.
And Chingachgook's just looking at him. He's looking at him going, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You piece of shit. Because you know for a fact I'm absolutely solid and you've killed me, son. And for me, when he turns around and does that spin and buries that into him, that could cut on that 2 shot, right? Buries it into Magua, just bang, cut to black. Written and directed by Michael Mann. Like the way Fincher wanted to end 7.
Yeah.
But it's great the way that his body just drops. He doesn't push him off. He doesn't give him any kind of ceremony. He just leaves him there.
Yeah.
What an incredible sequence. And it kind of spoils the film for me now. Because it gets to that point when Magua hits the ground and I rewind it back to Duncan getting burned.
Yeah.
It's a great 10 minutes.
I do that 3 or 4 times. I'm not even bothered about the end. Yeah, I'm the last of the Mohicans. Yeah, whatever. Let's see you kill some more people again. It's fantastic. It's not my favourite Michael Mann sequence. It'll always be the heist from Heat. The gun shoot is always going to be up there for me. But I mean, it's a very fucking close second.
Yeah.
So, Mann knew how he wanted the setting for the climax to look, and it took 3 weeks to find the mountainside ridge. They were flying over Blue Ridge Mountains in a helicopter looking for an area untouched by modern civilization, and then they spotted this cliff trail.
It's an incredible setting.
Oh, it's amazing.
Not just stunning to look at, but creates this real jeopardy where they're fighting like literally on the edge of a cliff. I think it's a huge part of what makes it all work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The ending of the book is different from the film, obviously. Everything else is.
Why wouldn't it be?
Well, of course. So in the book, Cora is the sister who dies. She's the one taken by a Magua, and she's killed by a Huron warrior when the Mohicans try to rescue her. In the book, Magua does kill Uncas, but then it's Hawkeye who kills Magua, not Chingachgook.
It's much better the way it's Chingachgook getting revenge, surely.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
And it's great how Chingachgook totally destroys Magua. It's not even a contest.
No, it's not.
No. He's like a child.
Yeah.
That death blow, 360 degrees swing, it's massive.
Love it. Straight through his back. With his Mohawk snooker bat.
We don't end on Magua's death, though, despite what Westy might want.
I'd love that.
No.
We get the denouement. Chingachgook, Hawkeye and Cora on the mountain, mourning their loved ones and contemplating their future. Mm-hmm. A good way to end?
I think so. I mean, unless you're Westy, obviously. No, thing is, it could be so on the nose that the last line is basically, I am the last of the Mohicans. But it's anything but, because I think you need this minute of just taking a bit of a breath after that last battle. And I just think the emotion is so well played here by them all. It's victory, but it's also defeat at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they've saved Cora, but they've lost so much. It's the end of the bloodline. And you've just got to end this film with the one more shot of that amazing landscape.
Yeah, man said that the final shot as we look over that landscape is they're looking at the future, like the future of America, not their own futures. And I do get a bit of a sense of that.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty downbeat way to end, which I quite like.
Yeah.
I would say I wouldn't mind getting some indication of what Hawkeye and Cora's future might be, maybe. There's nothing here at all, I don't think.
Right. But the way the book ends is actually Munro giving his blessing for Duncan to marry Alice. And the final scene is a joint funeral for Cora and Uncas, where the Sachem comes back and he has a monologue about how they're all now entering a new era.
Yeah, we get Chingachgook instead giving that monologue at the end, calling himself the last of the Mohicans. I mean, that stuff's all really good.
Yeah, it's fine. But Chingachgook, he's just lost his son and he's got Nathaniel next to him, his adopted son, who's grown up with him and he's feeling the pain. Just leave your ass alone for 5 minutes. I'm literally dying here. I've lost everything. I'm standing by myself, more or less, and you're
Canoodling.
Can I have a hug, please? The last of the Mohicans, not the last of the emotions. Then cut to black. Written and directed by Michael Mann. And Mann filmed a much longer monologue where Chingachgook explained that after he was gone, the frontier would go, and men like Hawkeye and his white wife, as he calls her, would be everywhere. Then one day they will go too.
Yeah, it's like, yes, I mean, you're right, Chingachgook, but a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
Predicts the next 250 years, like, perfectly. And that is the end of The Last of the Mohicans. A desperate chase to a devastating climax, but it's an ending that stays with you, I think.
Yes, very much.
Oh, absolutely.
Reception and awards.
So that is the story of The Last of the Mohicans on the screen and behind it, and it opened in cinemas on September the 25th, 1992. Mm-hmm. How did it do? Well, no matter what occurs, Matt will find the box office numbers.
Yes, I will.
So take it away, Matt.
So production budget was $40 million and Mohicans ended up grossing $75.5 million domestically and $143 million worldwide. And at the Oscars, it won 1 Academy Award, as we've said. Chris Jenkins, Doug Hemphill, Mark Smith, Simon Kay, Best Sound.
Must have been those basketballs.
Oh, yeah.
And, believe it or not, that Oscar win is the one and only Oscar ever won by a Michael Mann film.
What?
Oh, wow, really, yeah.
Really?
Crazy talk.
Wow.
The film was originally scheduled for a release in the summer of 1992, and you can find that date on older posters. But when the first version came in at 3 hours, Fox asked Mann to cut the film down, and the release was postponed to September.
Yeah, so it was then that they had to bring Randy Edelman in to help with the score because Trevor Jones had other commitments. But 3 Hour Mohicans, I'd definitely watch that.
Oh, I'd watch the hell out of that.
If that first version came in at 3 hours and I worked for Fox, I would just say, can you put it out now?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just do it now.
If you're listening, Fox, get it out there.
Yeah.
I need to see it.
Yeah.
Hashtag release the man cut.
Yeah.
On to the critics, and we'll start, as we usually do, with Roger. Roger Ebert, that is. Talking about him like he's one of the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did Rogerino make of the film, do we think?
3.
I think he's going to give it a full whack, you know.
It was, Matt's right, 3 out of 4 stars from Roger.
Fair one.
And he said, The Last of the Mohicans is not as authentic and uncompromised as it claims to be, but is probably more entertaining as a result. The scenes of forest fighting follow the usual Hollywood rules. The hero rarely misses and the villains rarely hit anyone, but I didn't care. A worthy successor to the Randolph Scott version.
Nice.
Yeah, uncompromised. I mean, Magua does rip a guy's heart out and hold it up to the camera, Rog.
I mean, the villains hit a lot of people, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and someone gets burned alive.
Yeah.
So,
What do you want, Rog?
Gene Siskel gave the film a thumbs up and called it a little messy, but nevertheless has some compelling characters and ended up succeeding as an epic film. It's one of the most entertaining modern westerns.
right.
I tend not to think of it as a western, mainly because there's no cowboys, probably, but
I don't think of it as a western at all.
I guess it is, though, isn't it?
I suppose technically, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more of a frontier actioner.
It is that.
I guess more or less.
Westy inventing a subgenre there.
I'll do what I want. I'll use my platform for good.
And Empire Magazine's Ian Nathan gave it the full 5-star treatment and said, The Last of the Mohicans manages a remarkable double life. It is pure escapism, traditional heroics writ huge, yet it is also realistic, each and every inch imbued with authenticity and conviction.
Nice.
Yeah,
Escapism and authenticity, a couple of good words for this film, I think.
lovely.
Yeah, definitely.
And today on Rotten Tomatoes, Last of the Mohicans has an 88% critics rating and 88% from audiences. And on IMDb, 7.6 out of 10.
Nice. Critics and audiences perfectly in sync.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like the Mohicans. Get them on the deer hunt trail.
Yeah. Just like the action and romance, everything's harmonised.
Yeah, it is. So, The Last of the Mohicans did well on release, more than solid box office, critical acclaim, and one Oscar win for great sound design. Fair to say it's endured better than most 1992 releases.
I would definitely say
Yes,
so.
definitely so.
Better than most period films, to be honest.
I mean, it's no California Man, obviously.
Well, what is? Yeah.
California Man's not even California Man.
Sequels and influence.
Michael Mann never made a sequel to The Last of the Mohicans. There was a 1994 TV series, Hawkeye, that was nothing to do with the film, but inspired by its success.
Okay.
Right.
Also, there was a 1971 BBC TV series of Last of the Mohicans, which is what introduced the term Mohican, as in the haircut, into the British kind of lexicon.
Oh, really?
Well, really?
That's where it came from, yes. It came from this novel.
Interesting.
So there you go. No sequels. Do we need one? Would we want one?
No.
No.
Surely not. The film feels complete as a story, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a complete story, yeah.
So no, The First of the Mohicans, a prequel.
No, none of that. Just a 3-hour cut of this will be fine.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah, that's all we need.
But what about this film's impact? What kind of influence and legacy has The Last of the Mohicans had since 1992, do we think?
I mean, I think it's just the films we've been talking about as we've gone through. I mean, Mel Gibson is definitely a fan of this, and he's watching this in preparation for Braveheart. I think this runs through that. And then you go from that to Gladiator.
Yeah.
As we've been saying, quite funny that we are talking about Lord of the Rings soon, because that takes so much from this.
Yeah.
I mean, the Siege of the Fort, that's Helm's Deep for me.
Right.
Helm's Deep takes loads from that. And The Revenant as well, about getting out there in the wilderness and shooting. So actually, I think it does have a big influence for something that at the time was a little under the radar.
Yeah, I think an immediate influence was that it did show Hollywood that historical epics could work in like the modern era. This was 1992. Within a few years, we've mentioned them. We had Braveheart, The Patriot, Rob Roy as well.
Rob Roy, yeah.
Historical action dramas, and I mean, not all great, but they owe something to what man did, I think. Take historical events, make it brutal, add a love story, and boom, you're away.
Yeah.
And I think the way Mann and Dante Spinotti shot the action's been influential as well. That handheld kind of in-your-face approach to period battles, that's kind of the way it's done now. It's probably more down to Braveheart, to be fair.
Yeah.
But like Game of Thrones, the battle scenes there would fit into Mohicans, I think. Not the dragons, maybe, but apart from that.
Yeah.
And the music, obviously, that main theme's been borrowed so many times. You still hear that kind of thing in trailers.
Yeah.
It's like epic historical drama. Mohican-style strings, please.
Yeah.
I've heard that at the Olympics before, which is mad.
Yeah.
I mean, Dougie MacLean must be laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
He must be. Yeah, like the Two Towers trailers, very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of films to say that you guys haven't already. I mean, I've got Braveheart there, I've got The Patriot, I've got Gladiator, I've got The New World, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The Revenant, obviously, for the realism over the style. There's one film that we haven't touched on that I think is the most influenced by this, especially for Gibson, and I don't think it's Braveheart, I think it's Apocalypto.
Ah, great shout, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, I've not actually seen that.
It's definitely more apocalypto than it is anything else.
A lot of running in Apocalypto.
A lot of running.
That's colonial America as well, I think, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Which ends in a similar kind of vein to this, but with a lot more of a gut punch of like what's going to happen next.
Yes, it does.
I'll not spoil it if you haven't seen it, John, or anybody else listening.
Is it worth watching?
It's brilliant.
Really?
Yeah, it is good, yeah.
It's a very, very good film.
Yeah.
You know, it went underneath the radar a little bit because people are expecting more of a Braveheart kind of actioner thing.
Yeah.
I think, again, it's very honest. It's very respectful of the cultures and very respectful of everything that happened at that time, especially. So I think if you're looking for a sequel to this, watch Apocalypto.
Nice.
You'd be pleasantly surprised.
That's a great shout.
So, no sequels for Last of the Mohicans, but its influence on historical filmmaking, on film music, and on how to adapt classic literature, I think is still being felt.
Yeah.
I think some films don't need sequels. This might be one of them.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. It's all done and dusted. The last of the adaptations.
All the right movies ranking.
And we've tracked all the way through The Last of the Mohicans. Now it's time for our final verdicts, where we each rate the film out of 10. Matt, you chose this one, so why don't you lead us off? Your summary and score for The Last of the Mohicans, please.
Very simple one for me, really. No need to elaborate too much. We've had to look really, really hard to find flaws in this, I think. And if the biggest flaw in the film is it's just not long enough, I think that says a lot about how good the film actually is.
Yeah.
Acting, direction, cinematography, music, they're all incredible. And like I say, I think it deserves more praise than it gets, and it is very, very influential. Is that still enough for top marks? It's just not quite in that top echelon of films that mean a lot to me personally, and I've got a real personal love for. And I think we'd find it hard to argue it's a really historically significant piece of cinema. You know, he didn't reinvent the genre. There's nothing technical going on that we've never seen before. So overall, it is a masterpiece in my eyes, and it's very, very close to the perfect mark, but it just doesn't quite get there, so it's a 9.5 for me.
Right.
Still a great score. So yeah, for me, coming back to this one for the first time in a while, and I thoroughly enjoyed the rewatch when it confirmed why it's as popular as it is.
Yeah.
Michael Mann taking his like intense modern style and applying it to the historical epic. That works far better than it usually does when directors do that, I think. And it's in no small part down to the craft. The cinematography is part epic sweeps of stunning landscapes and part intimate character moments. The score, massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive. The production design, especially the build of Fort William Henry to historical specifications. If you don't like that, then this isn't for you.
No.
And the performances are all excellent. DDL brings the intensity and the commitment that's become his kind of trademark. I really like Madeline Stowe as the emotional heart. And Wes Studi as Magua.
Yeah.
One of the best films of that decade, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, like I mentioned, I find the pacing a little uneven at times. We might spend too long at Fort William Henry, then rush through the ending a little bit. And Alison Dunkas, I think, definitely needed more development.
Yeah.
But looks great and massive. It sounds great and massive. Not Man's best for me, but one of his best. And I do like it and respect it a lot. And it's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Lovely.
And Westy, your Mohican summary and score, please.
For me, we've mentioned a lot throughout the episode and we've given it a lot of praise. Matt's right, we have found little to say about it that's necessarily negative or anything that brings me out of the film. And I think it is the pacing, really. And when you think about it as a whole, people say, well, what really happens in it? Nothing much really happens in it.
The story's quite thin, isn't it, yeah?
It's a very thin story and it's a journey more than it is trying to explain anything else. So it's putting you in the middle of this period in this environment, but you are then expected to know a lot about that period and that environment and then be taken on that journey. If you're not happy about that journey, then you're quite stuck, whereas a lot of films will have sprigs going off left, right and centre. It's all very linear. It's like being stuck in that canoe and you're going down that river.
Yeah.
And you can't deviate from where you're going. If you want to go off the waterfall at the end, that's what you do, and you're rewarded for sitting in the river for that long and going off the end. But watching it again, I mean, it's been a couple of years since I watched it, and it was top marks for me a couple of years ago. I watched it thinking, that's fantastic. And then coming back to it and watching it again 2 or 3 times over the space of a week, I do feel like there's something missing. And to realise that, you know, we've all discussed it, to do research on it, and to realise the first cut was 3 hours.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
He's taken a third out of this film.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's taken the right things out, and it feels quite rushed. It doesn't feel like a final cut to me. We've said this earlier. It feels a bit edited for television. That's where the advert needs to go.
It does, yeah.
You know, there's that Uncas and Alice relationship that needed to have more to it. They would have added even more to the end. The end feels a little bit rushed as well. So for me, it's not going to be top marks. If it was a 3-hour version, it'll be a 10.
Yeah. You haven't seen it.
I know for a fact it would be, because all that's missing is more of this.
Yeah.
Because it's great, and I think he's taken out too much. He's taken out bits that I needed to see, and I know they exist, and that's annoying.
Yeah.
So for that reason, it loses a mark. So it's going to be a 9 out of 10 for me as well.
Wonderful.
Well, we also put this out there to our ATRM patrons out on the frontier to get their thoughts. So some of their comments on The Last of the Mohicans. Kim Jackson said, the ending made me want to conquer the world.
Yeah.
And how perfect was DDL? 9 out of 10.
Yep.
Beautiful.
That ending does make you kind of want to conquer the world, I think.
Does. Yeah.
Or at least run through the woods.
Just do something.
One of the two.
Get off your arse at least.
Ryan Douglas, less effusive, said, loved it back in the 90s, but it unfortunately has not aged very well. Day-Lewis is fantastic as in pretty much everything, but it's not Mann's best. That has to be Heat. 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure specifically what Ryan means by not aged well. I mean, visually and musically, I think it's aged pretty great. Maybe he means something else.
Maybe.
Let us know, Ryan.
Yep.
And Philip Beattie said, this definitely doesn't get talked about enough. Day-Lewis is amazing, and as Magua, Wes Studi is one of cinema's great villains.
Yes, he is.
It's under 2 hours long, but looks, sounds and feels like a great epic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after it's banging on for 2.5 hours, people might be saying it's been talked about for too much.
Yeah, very possibly.
Yeah.
But I agree, it does feel longer than it is, I think, in a good way.
Yeah, I know what he means.
Yeah, it certainly does.
So, mostly positive from our patrons, and altogether, they rated the film as, what do you think?
8.
9.
8.5.
It was 9 out of 10.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So in total, that gives The Last of the Mohicans 36.5 out of 40.
Right.
Pretty great score.
Yep.
Yep, it's up there.
Well, that's us done on the film.
Okay.
Next time out, it's something slightly different.
Yep.
The whole ATRM gang will be here. A special mailbag episode where Matt, Westy, Luke and myself will tackle some big and bold questions from our patrons.
Yeah.
We have the questions and there's some pretty great ones, aren't there?
There are.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Yeah.
And then, 2 weeks after that, Luke, Westy and Matt will be riding shotgun through LA with Antoine Fuqua, Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke for Training Day.
Oh, yes, we will.
Yeah.
King Kong ain't got nothing on that, surely.
He definitely doesn't.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, to find out more about becoming an ATRM patron, supporting what we do, and accessing our archive and bonus episodes, please visit patreon.com/alltherightmovies or click the subscribe link on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Socially, you can keep up with All the Right Movies on X, where we are at AT Right Movies. We post threads on there that tell the stories behind classic films. Everything we post has been said by someone involved in the production, or it comes from 3 separate sources, which is the same rule we follow on our podcasts. So check that out.
Yep.
You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok. We have a movie group on Facebook, and our website is alltherightmovies.com. Loads of stuff.
It is. Loads of stuff.
We're all off now to reload our flintlocks while running. In the meantime, stay alive. We will find you, specifically when we come back with Training Day. And,
Yes.
as always, thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
Take care.